Hello, YouTube family. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, everyone to the TikTok family and the YouTube family. I know this is I'm running a little bit behind because I had some trouble, tech issues. Gosh, I couldn't believe I was having that tech issue. I didn't even realize it was like that. But I'm here now, and my name is Miss Penny. I run the chemistry channel. And we have a small Hoodoo community on Patreon, Spiritual Roots. Thank you for being here with me today. And for those of you that are in our community, um, this is just a refresher for you, and I will come here and I will talk about it. But in light of the recent events, I thought it was important to come here and talk about shadow work because that's what we're seeing once again because it rears its ugly head. But it looks like things are at some point, some shifts and changes are bound to happen, and that's what we're seeing going on now. From for and we're going to talk about that too as we go through individual shadow work, and then we're going to go into collective shadow work because that's what's going on now collectively as humans. That's what's going on now, and it certainly relates to this topic. And we'll go into that discussion a little bit more because we've been seeing a lot that's going on with the unfolding of the colonizers coming together against people who want to be authentic, people that truly see themselves and see them for who they truly are. And here you got these colonizers, they're not ready to look at themselves. But I digress. We're going to go through shadow work and we're going to go really deep with this so you can really understand what shadow work is and how important it is in our practice. It is the level up. Uh, it is the way it really shifts our perspective so we can look at the true essence of things. And that's what shadow work does. Within the framework of indigenous traditional spiritual systems, the work of ancestors stands at the center of the spiritual path. Whether one is practicing hoodoo or engaging in other traditions rooted in African cosmology, the understanding remains the same. The living and the dead exist within the continuous relationship. So they're still standing here with us. We still carry them again with us. The ancestors are not distant memories or symbolic figures of the past. They are active spiritual presence whose lives, experience, and wisdom continue to influence the world of the living as we see right now today. For this reason, ancestor work is inseparable from shadow work. The two particle practices, I'm sorry, the two practices are deeply interconnected processes that bring awareness and healing to the hidden aspects of ourselves and the ancestral lines from which we come. Together, they create a path of transformation that supports emotional healing, spiritual growth, and self empowerment. And I know a lot of people think they have to rush through shadow work, especially if you're in our community. You do not have to rush through shadow work, beloved. Take it one day at a time. It does take some time because that realization can be hard depending on what you have in your bloodline. Uh, it may take you a while to remove some things, and that's perfectly fine. We're definitely not rushing you in our community to, on your path, but the medicine is going to be there in the shadow work. And I know what people are showing us. They're showing us a lot of spells. They're showing us things about hoodoo. But with that type, when you go into picking things up and doing spells, that takes responsibility and accountability and experience. Okay. So I want you to really take your time. And we're not, if you're in our community, we're not rushing you or anything like that. Let me see. I got to go in my chat. I need to have chat up. Hi, George State. Love you too, George. George Tate. I hope I'm saying that right. Okay, so again, just take your time with the work. Who's in here doing shadow work or still doing shadow work? Because I get a lot of people come in my box and say, "What is shadow work?" They don't really know what it is. I even have some people that that's picking up things and not really sure what shadow work is. Okay, but this is the most important part of your practices and connects you back to the ancestors when it comes to healing. Okay, many people encounter African tradition practices through spells, rituals, herbs, and magical workings. Yet, what is often left unsaid is that none of these practices can truly function in their highest form without relationship with the ancestors. That is the most important part that's being left out of there. And so what happens, yes, Miss Penny is talking about this again. You're probably getting tired of me talking about this, but I have to have this discussion because I'm seeing people come here and I talk about this, okay? And this is the most important part of your practice. This is the core to your practice, and you're probably wondering why something is not working. And this is why it's not working. You probably got some stuff going on with you, uh, you know, and this is what's going on with you. And we think we are doing the shadow work when we're not because no one is holding us accountable. We don't have any, elders or therapists that's walking us through this because this right here to really see the effect of it and see improvements in your self-awareness, there must be another person that's holding you accountable and that's truly helping you do the mental shift. And I know you think that you can do this alone. A lot of people think they can. A lot of people think they can, trips me out. But if your awareness, it just makes no sense to me. If your awareness is all, is blinded by wounds and things like that, and it's how are you going to do that by yourself? Because for so long you didn't know your mind was sick. So how you going to heal it by yourself? People that mind that's sick don't think they sick. So again, when you have a someone who is grounded and healed, a safe space to talk about these things, again, the shifting of the perspective can happen there. Especially in a collective group where everyone is kind of sharing what's going on there, or just with the life coach. But again, it cannot be done alone, and it doesn't end. I hear a lot of people say, "Well, I've done my shadow work." You done it? What do you mean? This is a way of life. We're always changing. We're always transforming and becoming our highest self. What I did last year, I'm not doing this year. There's some things that I used to do, last year, I'm not doing this year that I've been aware of. Wait a minute, I do this. I want to work on this. If we're truly looking at ourselves and who we are, because we know we're not perfect, and we know that there is some damage that been done to us somewhere, especially if you are a person of color in hoodoo. That's why we continue to go over those histories to let you see the trauma that's already in your bloodline, and why we're doing the spiritual baths, why we're working with plants and herbs, why we're doing that. The spell is not important. The root work and healing is the most important thing in hoodoo. And what is the root work? You're gonna run into shadow work because you're gonna try to find out why you like that, why do you have that illness, what is causing the illness. That's true root work, that is true shadow work. It's gonna run you right into that. Okay. I'm still doing shadow work, Miss Penny. Now, will you be doing it all the time, every day? No. But when something certainly comes up, a trigger or something like that, it's good to go sit with that and see what parts needs to be healed. Okay. And that doesn't mean that you're less than anything else. I don't know a practitioner, if they are, if they're practicing it and they are well grounded, I don't know a practitioner that is bypassing this. They are very aware of what this is, and they keep this front and center, and that's why their practice is successful. Okay, so this and I'm coming here again talking about it, and I'm not trying to make you feel guilty, anything else. I am just discussing the importance of it and taking your time with it and being accountable when you see things that's going on with you. um sit with that. What is going on? Is it you know, we need to know what's going on with us. We need to be able to assess the situation. And I promise it's going to help with your discernment and your relationships. When we gain a better understanding of ourselves and have better relationships with ourselves, it really helps our discernment and how we perceive the world. Okay. At the deepest level, ancestors' work is also shadow work. Ancestral rooms frequently reside within the shadow, the parts of ourselves that we deny, repress, remain unaware of. Okay. And some of us have abandonment wounds. And I think that that's what get people caught up in following people. You probably don't even know it while you're doing it. I think that is the biggest reason for cults and things like that, because there are some wounds in people, and so they try to again replace it by putting their power in other individuals. And so now, they're chasing people instead of chasing their practice or getting grounded with the ancestors. You see some of that go on when this is about the practice and not so much about the person. Okay. The wounds can appear as limiting beliefs, emotional triggers, fears, and patterns of behavior that seem difficult to explain. A person might experience intense anxiety about abandonment, rejection, or scarcity without fully understanding why those fears feel so powerful. Okay. And we'll have this stuff and we'll have complications in our relationships with our family, uh depending on what you have going on. The energy might be coming out from you, where you're repeating some patterns with them and you're not going anywhere with it. Okay, so we really need to sit there and with ourselves and see what's going on. And we do this by looking at our family history, by looking at who we really are, the relationships with ourselves and our family. All of this, is sit with it. You hear me tell you to sit with that. Okay, and we do carry a lot of this in our DNA. And so if you are in your practice right now, I don't know how many of you, because I know many of you have jobs, you're very busy, so you're doing your best to integrate this into your everyday life. But when you start, really doing this and taking your time and going at your own pace, um, you're definitely going to see some changes in yourself and in your practice if you are making progress in this. It's definitely rewarding, especially if you find yourself facing blocks and you said, "Hey, this doesn't work. I've been doing it this way right here and it's not really working." Take a look at this. Let's go back and look at this before we move on to trying to do some work. If something didn't work and you're in our community and you're saying, "Okay, Miss Minnie, this didn't work. That's not working." Okay, so now we got to go back to the drawing board because you're the biggest component in your magic. So now we have to go back and sit with what block uh that that we need to work on. You're not the only one. I have to work on it too. I just did a reading on myself the other day and it was a block there. I was pissed off too. I was pissed off too. I was pissed off too. I was like, "Oh my God, I got to go deal with this. I can't even do this because I got to go back and deal with this. I got to go in and do something with my mind. I need to go sit with this for a minute." Okay. And no one likes to admit this. We we under magic is being presented in a way like uh there is no work to put into it, and this is the work to put into it. Okay. And it's not entirely your fault. Okay, it's not entirely your fault. These are just wounds and things that happen to us since we have been walking on this earth. Some that was been passed on, and some because of false programming. Okay. Research suggests that trauma can influence how genes expressed and these changes may be passed down through generation. Historical trauma, chronic stress, severe hardships experienced by ancestors can leave biological, psychological imprints on descendants. Shadow work is the process of looking at the root, okay? Who you are, okay? It is a practice of looking at the hidden aspects of yourself, your beliefs, your habits, your emotional patterns, fears, and inherited behaviors. It is not one-time event, but an ongoing process, which you just talked about that. It invites us to reflect on our childhood, our family dynamics, our relationships, and the environments that shaped us. I'm telling you what shadow work is because when I get to talking about shadow work with some people, they be like, I don't know what that is. And some of them be, already dabbling in the practice and don't know what shadow work is. So I want to cover this thoroughly so you won't be confused about what it is. Because I have people coming in my box wanting to learn things. And then when they're telling me stuff, I was like, well, you probably need to go back and do some shadow work. What's that? This is what this is. Okay. You need to go back and look at what happened to you. Where do you come from? Who is your family? All that has to be broken down. Start looking at that. That matters. Because though again, your lineage has a frequency. It has a spiritual signature. And then things were done eh, to us. And then so if you don't think nothing wrong with you, then I want to ask you what's the matter with you? Because we just went through this stuff telling you what your ancestors went through. So why you think you get a chance to skip shadow work? That's why we're going over the history. That's why we got Black History Day, so we don't forget. Okay? This is why this being reminded. This is why Hoodoo was created. Because we knew this, we were gonna have to heal. Okay? Have to make this plain, all right? This is what shadow work is, so you don't have to be confused. And there is plenty of free resources online for shadow work. There's plenty of free journals, topics about it. It's just too many for you not to know. And this is the biggest part of your work, but it gets skipped. This can hang you up and take you back to square one if you don't have a good foundation. If you don't respect the practice. And especially in hoodoo, that's why we're going through it. We it ain't a resource that we look into that they don't go over the history of what happened to us because they're letting you know what hoodoo was created for and where was it born from. Okay? Where did your beliefs originate from? Were they inherited from your family? Were they shaped by society, culture, or peers? Or did you consciously choose them yourself? We have to start asking ourselves because we got to eliminate these old stereotypes. And quite naturally, when you start doing shadow work, you will start seeing these oppressive spirits that are manipulating you. Okay. These voices with, these negative voices that people call them negative voices of negative thoughts. Those are spirits. Okay. And until you can clear that out, some of that out, it can block you to doing certain work. Does this make sense to you? Let me know. Does this make sense to you? Are you getting what I'm saying? I hope you understand what I'm saying. I see a few of you here. I'm breaking this entirely down for you so you can really understand what this is. And you may think, oh, that has nothing to do with shadow work. It does because now we got people putting in people in pots and getting mad, for no reason because they didn't get enough attention because they're jealous. They not dealing with their own jealousy, so they lack authenticity. You got people up here doing the same thing, looking at each other doing the same thing. Uh, you got people scared to be authentic and look at their true selves or embrace them true selves. And magic is all about authenticity. It's all about authenticity. It's not about doing what you saw somebody taught you to do. It's about doing what your ancestors showed you to do without the validation approval of the world. And in order to really get into your magic, you're gonna have to be able to stand in your authenticity and be you without looking at other people. And that's one thing I recommend over there. Although I mentor everyone over there to the best of my ability, and I am there, but ultimately to get your magic, you're going to have to get it. I can't get it to you. I can guide you to getting your magic, but ultimately the work is going to fall on you. And I don't care who you follow or who's teaching you something, the work ultimately is going to fall on you because you are the biggest component to your magic. Okay, the more you can uncover things about you, the better your magic is going to be. Okay, not with no one else. That's why you will see me here. I i will not come here and show you a spell. We'll talk about certain things. uh I might give you a little framework of how a spell go, but just to come here and show you a full spell, because that spell, in the way that it worked for me, it may not work for you the same way, and that may not be the way your ancestors want you to handle that situation or do that work. But nobody, does this make sense to you? Nobody stops for a moment. Those are probably not even the elements that someone is showing you. Those elements, your ancestors may not want you to be working with those elements. They probably have something more simple for you to do. No one wants to hear this. No one wants to hear this. Now, do we have things that's pretty much the same, a spiritual bath and things like that? Yeah. But when it comes to really doing some work like that, the ancestors need to be addressed. And if they wanted you, to do that work, they would show you. You wouldn't be fishing around trying to ask somebody how to do something. And if you were studying, spending time with your ancestors, you would know how to do the work already. You wouldn't be asking anyone. Because when I see you do that in our community, if you're coming to me asking me some things like that, you know, I'm going to ask you to refer you back to your ancestors, and maybe I'll refer you to the resources where you can start putting things together yourself. Because the magic comes from you. Okay, and when you're using somebody else is showing you some magic, that's their magic signature coming from them. That's their artwork. That's their craft that they created. We're going to go into this a little further next week, because we're going to be talking about ritual. So next week we'll be talking about ritual, really getting you familiar with that. So we'll go back into that again. And for those of you that's new in our community, you get a chance to get another review and shadow work and really understand what it is. Because we talked about this, I think, last year. Recognizing these connections does not mean individuals are doomed to repeat the pain of the past. On contrary, awareness creates opportunity for transformation. When hidden wounds are acknowledged, they can finally begin to heal. Many people would prefer to skip this part, yeah, because everybody wants to pick up magic. But as I've seen, people want to put people in pots, and they just do want to do revenge stuff, and they want to just lay tricks and stuff. I have seen this is not a very good ending. It's usually not a very good ending. Okay. It is far easier to learn spells than it is to examine our own rooms. However, avoiding this stage is a profound mistake. When we refuse to examine ourselves, we risk repeating the same patterns and mistakes that existed within our lineage. Okay. Some of us, we are repeating things that's in our lineage. Some of us are, codependent, and we repeat things in our lineage. Okay, especially when it comes to, I'll give you an example just for now, collectively. Everybody wants to have a leader. That's how our society is set up, for somebody to lead us. Even though they're not, you know, the best thing for us, we've been focus on people, celebrities, presidents, just other leaders, which and not make a have an independent thought of our own. Okay, this is a problem. This, this has been going on for, for some time now, where we don't want to use our own, freedom and sovereignty to make conscious decisions for us, instead of going along with things that are not good for us. We got that going on now. And so you'll see a pattern of this. You'll see a pattern of this going on. And so now, what was that telling? What is that pattern telling us? That we need to make independent choices. We need to really think about what's good for us, and not look at what other people are doing and seeing what works for us. No matter what other people are doing, I would tell her. I remember telling my daughters that, I think it was my oldest daughter, and she was saying something, and she was like, "My friends do this, and they got this, and they got that." I said, "Well, you do something different. You be a trailblazer. Do something different. Just because they doing it, don't make it right. Don't be afraid to do something different. And before you know it, people will be following you because you're doing something different." That's how some people work. That's how some people work. That's how, most leaders become leaders, because they refuse to follow the sheep or the herd. They do something different. And people laugh at them at first, until they find out, oh, they know exactly what they're doing. Okay? And some people might even think you're crazy. I dealt with that on one of my jobs. I went to one of my jobs, and everybody was letting this supervisor, basically she was just running like a plantation. The way she was talking to people. And then I had to tell her, "Look, hey, let me tell you something. It stops here. Okay? You can't do that over here. You can't do it over here, ma'am. I'm so sorry that these folks that made you feel like that it is normal for you to have that behavior like that with other people. But you cannot do that with me. I won't allow you to do it." And by the ancestors put everything in me, and by the almighty great spirit, honey, like I told the great spirit, "You want me to be at this job, you're gonna have to move that lady." And those people at the job, they were scared for me. They was like, "You're gonna get fired." I was like, "I don't care. This is wrong." And y'all been let this woman, that and she done lost her mind because ain't nobody stood up to her, and now she think I'm doing something wrong because y'all done normalize this type of behavior. You're seeing that go on now in America. Now they done normalize that behavior. Now you have the news spinning the story. Even though Iran is a victim in this, they're spinning the story, making it look like it's bad for them to defend themselves. And they did the same thing to our ancestors. Okay? And then when I look at UN and I look at NATO, look at them real close. These are a whole group of colonizers that have put themselves over indigenous people in the world. That's what that is. And all of it need to be dismantled. They don't need to be telling, no, you are a group of colonizers. The UN and NATO are a group of colonizers that formed this group to say, "Hey, we're gonna look at who they are. They're mostly European nations. They are pale faced people to say, oh, we're gonna really organize, because we're gonna put ourselves in their affairs. So we go to war against them. No, we can try ourselves against the crimes we commit against them. And so we would never be accountable for it if we put ourselves in charge of it." That is what is happening there. Repeated cycles. They say they got their own shadow work to do. That's why I don't, I say this is closed, because your folks are still doing raggedy stuff. Why would you want to come over here? And as people of color, we should, again, that's collectively our shadow work. We need to be getting away from them because we seeing the regular stuff on the wall. Right now is the best time to be separated. You want to really put a impact in them. Really, people of color need to be putting together and organizing and building their own empire. And I think Iran is a great example of that. Because these people are, I mean, they are spinning these stories like, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like y'all actually went over there and started that with them folks, and now y'all trying to make that look ugly. You trying to make that look like that's that fault. Them people's over there mind their business. La 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 la. And here you come with this. And now you trying to make them, it's crazy. Okay, but then this is the collective shadow work that's rearing this ugly head. And what is Iran saying? Iran is saying, hey, no, we're gonna deal with this because this keeps coming up. And Iran is making their best decision. We want to nip this in the bud right now because we don't want to have no more confusion. Okay, and they're kind of forced to look at themselves. And this is very scary because in the past, this is their shadow work they need to do. This is why I don't trust any of them. Okay, uh, they need to do something different instead of owning up to their mistakes, which make them strong. Which I love that about Iran. Iran, they apologize, for some of the the casualties that they caused. They own that. Okay, and they apologize to their neighbors. That shows a nation of strength and self-reflection. The United States and Israel have not done that. This shows that a person these in fact they're trying to regress us. It's really important for you to understand what's going on here because it relates to your shadow work collectively and individually that's going on here. And this is going to keep coming up for America until they all these European nations until they start to really look at who they are. Stop trying to deflect, stop spinning things around. You are ugly and raggedy. And that's why our ancestors keep our foot on your neck. Because this is what you do. And I don't blame Iran. They have to keep their foot on your neck. And even though they have told you what it is, and they have been very diplomatic about it, they've been so smooth when they move. You're still trying to spin things. Okay. When this is a reflection moment, I don't care, that's what that is. But it's alarming. It's a little concerning because I would invite you people, our community, go look at NATO and UN. These are a whole bunch of pale-faced people that have put themselves over the world. They're no different than the United States that has the manifest destiny saying that they were destined to conquer the whole world by God. This is why they're working with that Israel thing. They know them people are false people. They know them people that they didn't stole somebody's identity. They're very aware of this because, and all of them have been compromised by that institution. They're trying to close control ancient Stargate over there. Okay. I know they just need to leave those people alone. Period. Um, whatever their motives are, it need, again, this is them, the self-reflection is gonna come up. Okay. And it's quite obvious that the Great Spirit is with Iran because if the Great Spirit was not with Iran, they wouldn't be able to do the things that they're doing now. And I know it doesn't look that way, but they're holding them accountable, and no one has really hold these pale-faced people accountable. And I mean, it's kind of disgusting because they have gotten on the news trying to turn things around. Okay. So when we refuse to examine ourselves, we risk repeating the same patterns. These unresolved wounds of our ancestors can echo through generations if we're never confronted and healed. So we're seeing it done now. Ancestors' work remind us that healing is not only personal, it is generational. And for, the writing on the wall, you know, and I've seen it, as clear as day, but a lot of us are not ready to, I would say, collectively, to step up to the plate and really handle our business the way we need to and honor our ancestors. And that collectively, that work needs to be done too. Okay. When we engage in genuine self-reflection, emotional healing, and spiritual alignment, they're not only changing your life, they're altering the energetic biological patterns within the lineage. Healing oneself become an act of healing the ancestors and the generations that follow. The transformation of consciousness changes the vibration carried within the body and spirit. And that vibration moves both backwards and forward through the ancestral line. Okay? So again, with me, when I started doing my shadow work, and I'm collectively doing it. And what I've noticed and why I left Thailand, I wanted to talk about, why I left America is because I didn't want to keep doing the same thing my ancestors was doing. This is for me. And you may not feel that way, but this is the way my perspective on a spiritual level and doing my shadow work because of how I felt there. Uh, you drain my ancestors dry. You use their energy. You kept them as a debt slave, and you're trying to do the same thing to me. And I don't want to repeat that same cycle with you. I'm just tired of you. And I know this ain't going to get me nowhere. Okay. And I'm not putting nothing into that system that's because everything that I pour into that system, you're using it against me. You're using it to hurt me. And God knows I don't even know what you're doing to these other people over here. I just don't want to keep repeating that same cycle with you. You're draining me dry. Okay. You're keeping me in a state of anxiety all the time. I mean, this is what you did to my ancestors. Them folks is tired. I don't know how you feel, but that's how I feel. I couldn't get my nervous system together. I couldn't get it right because every time I'm trying to settle down, these folks is doing crazy stuff. I got to worry about the bill. I got to worry about the oil. I got to worry about this. I got to worry about the car insurance. I got to worry about the crazy talking people on my job. Everybody around there got mental illness. I don't know no one in America that ain't. We got some mental illness over there. You seeing it for yourself, okay? You trying to keep your mind and your spirit healthy, but every time you turn around, there's some crazy folks. It's in folks, okay? Because most folks over there brainwashed and crazy. No, I'm not saying it's their fault. It's the way they set that up over there. Okay? You trying to stay well, but you can't stay well because you're around crazy people all the time. That's why we stay seeing a therapist, a life coach, or somebody. Because our mind is a war on our mind all the time. Lies. I mean, just go look at the news. I mean, all the propaganda. You gonna sit and then you wonder why people is crazy over there because of you. You're not gonna play with my mind and spirit like that, okay? I'm not. Hey, I'm over here trying to heal, and you steady over here with the raggedy stuff. Then you wonder why don't nobody want to be bothered with you because you keep people mentally and spiritually sick, and quite naturally physically. Because I heard you putting all kinds of stuff in our food over there. I'm just not gonna let you do it no more. I mean, that's how it felt to me. I was not going to repeat another pattern of giving them any part. I'm just not doing it. I'm not giving you not my energy like that. I'm not working at your funky jobs. You know, I'm tired of it. I'm just tired. My mind is tired. I'm tired. You come up with this crazy stuff all the time. You don't want our mind and our body in a state of rest. You want to always keep us stressed out, and I'm not gonna let you do it to me. I don't even know what you're getting out of this. And you gonna push people in the corner. And for me, you know, you don't want to push me in no corner because the only thing I know to do is fight you. Okay, whether I got to do it with my mind or my spirit, and I really don't think you're worth all that. Okay, I don't really think you're worth all that. So to keep myself happy, let me remove myself and heal on myself, because this is not the that environment does is not good for spiritual and mental and physical wellness. They did not create an environment over there for you to heal. And it's going to be hard to do. That's why I have compassion of many of you that are trying to do the work and do the shadow work, but it's hard to do over there when you are living in an environment that is toxic and that is built to keep you mentally and spiritually ill. I know it's hard. You ain't got to tell me. Okay, I had to get away from there and be like this, it's kind of frightening. Okay, so I'm definitely not fussing at you. I definitely have compassion for you, but creating that bubble for yourself to give yourself permission to heal. And a lot of that has to do with slowing down and saying no, because some of us are scared to say no to to people. We're scared of what other people are going to think and all that. No, you can't be scared. What is good for you? You got to go get your sovereignty back. What is good for you? And you might even have to tell, especially at your jobs, because there's a lot of toxicity. And uh, you know, I think that's where your mental health kind of go to hell when you have to operate with some of these people at these jobs. You have to place boundaries with them and let them know, even know, look, I need a mental health day because y'all so raggedy up here. And I'm taking this day. I don't give a damn what you're talking about. I'm taking this day because y'all crazy. I have to. I have to save myself because you don't care about how you're treating me mentally. I'm going to take this day. Do what you must. Do what you must, because no, y'all know this place is crazy, and and many of you work at places like that, especially if you're doing customer service. Okay, so really think about that, because that's why I left there. I just like, this is crazy. I don't care what everybody, and then everybody, what I noticed when I chose to opt out of it, people was asking me, was I okay? Are you okay? No, are you okay? Because you still over there with the crazy stuff. Stop asking me, I'm okay. I just refuse to put up with that stuff. I'm just not doing it. I'm tired. My ancestors tired. I am tired of that. You're not finna take me to the grave with that, okay? And then you talk about what they talk about, senior citizens to go into the military. Have you lost your complete mind? You want seniors in? Are you crazy? And I know it is. What Ayali said, her work environment is again, it's toxic. I just can't do it. It's mental. It's crazy, especially when you see these spirits that are operating through people. And you can really see it because a lot of them, the people that highly conform to that, you best believe a lot of these spirits are in these people. You're not gonna see it until you slow down and start becoming more self-aware. Because when you become more self-aware, again, you start unplugging yourself from the programming. That's when you go into spiritual warfare. The spiritual warfare comes if you're really doing the shadow work and you're doing the ancestors work and you're really healing, you're gonna come into spiritual warfare because them spirits want you to go back to sleep and get back with the programming. They can tell when you woke because you're not going with the programming anymore. Does this make sense? All this comes together. I can tell if you're really doing the shadow work and you're really working on yourself, you will have these spirits again. They're going to be upset because you're placing boundaries and you're no longer going with the program. How dare you? How dare you not go in the programming where we have you put it? You may see it through your sisters, your friends, your family. I have seen it. I have seen it with my own eyes. And and this, I think this is the hardest part of the shadow work because you get the chance to see how those spirits again have captured many of our family members and quite naturally our ancestors. Some of our ancestors passed over with this raggedy stuff in them. Do I make sense to you? I hope I'm making sense to you. Okay. And the best thing you, like I told you, the best thing you do in a toxic work environment is stay away from them. Make sure you going in there with some Florida water, you spraying yourself down, carry you some crystals on you. Okay. Somebody giving you too much trouble, put that Florida water in a disinfectant bottle and spray their desk down, or put some camphor water in it. Okay. But you got to come in there with full ammunition, because these spirits be in these people. And you're not going to see it until you become more self aware, and setting boundaries with them, because it's just an energy feeding thing. Okay. It's an energy feeding thing. That's why you got the bullying going on. Just saw where the young lady got off the bus stop, uh, which I don't know how long it's been ago, and the children that beat the child up. Okay, the child then passed away. And then we saw where the children beat up this child, the woman and her children, walking home from school. It's these spirits. You don't want to believe me, but it's these spirits. Okay, they don't like authenticity. They can pretty much tell when you're not conformed, because you're different. You're not doing the things that they're doing. You're not moving the way they move. And they will see that. They want you to conform. Just like you're seeing over there in Iran. How dare you be separate from us, and you have sovereignty and you have your own stuff? We done put sanctions on you. We done did this to you. How dare you not conform to our rules? Something is wrong with you. That's how authentic people are received in this world. And you have to dare to be authentic. Most they don't question anything. Can y'all still hear me? I hope you can still hear me. They don't question anything. Uh, they don't question anything. They just go along with it. And then they get mad at you when you're questioning it. They feel like you're trying to start something. Same thing in the church. When you ask them how come these babies, how did this baby come from Adam's ribs or whatever, the church gonna get mad at you and call you a devil. Same thing. This is a war on your consciousness. This is a war on your mind. Okay. This is what our ancestors have been dealing with for so long. And that was one of my reasons I got out of there. And it looked like when ancestors told me to leave, they say, hey, get your nervous system together, leave, take a little break. Okay. But you need to leave now, because things are gonna get really ugly over here. And I just got up and left. I did what was right for me. I just couldn't take that. I can't do it. I'm done with them. I'm completely done with them. The disrespect, I don't know how you feel, but that's my boundary with the United States. Do I love America? Yes, I love my country. I love that land, but I do not like the people there who is making everybody else sick. Okay? That's where I draw the line. I'm not gonna let you sit here and play with my mind, play with my money, play with all my energy like that. Okay? It ain't a place. You've made it impossible to keep myself well, because you got toxicity everywhere on the jobs. You've normalized crazy stuff. And so when I check it, I'm wrong, because I won't let you do crazy stuff to me. No, I'm not rocking like that. Okay? That's where I draw the line at. I love myself enough to not put myself. You can be mad. You can punch the air. I don't care what you do, but I'm not participating in that. Okay? When we engage in shadow work, we begin to see all aspects of ourselves clearly. We recognize our strengths, our weaknesses. We acknowledge the beautiful, luminous aspects of our nature, as well as our darker parts. we may have tried to hide. Through this process, we gain a deeper understanding not only of ourselves, but of those who came before us. Okay? And I know who came before me. I know if I stayed over there, I know what's inside me. Okay? Even the darker aspects of myself. Okay? Look, because my mouth is fly. And I'm gonna have to get to writing some letters and talking to people and trying to change some stuff over there. Can't because you know, again, and I recommend that for you over there. But that's the only way I see myself going back. You know, being over there is I'm doing something revolutionary. Okay, I'm doing something revolutionary to change that place, to undermine what they have going on, because that's what really needs to happen. And it trips me out that it's not enough of that going on there. And I just feel like too is as you know, I'm not equipped to even do that. But that's how I feel being there because it's so raggedy. Okay. This is one reason the history of hoodoo is repeated so often in the teachers and the resources. That's why we're talking about the history. I know you open up your resources and you say, are they talking about this again? Yes, we're talking about it again. That's why they talk. That's why I don't see why as many resources as we cover over there, and it all before we crack over any resources, it goes before the history before it teach you any spell. And that's for a good reason. Because if you don't understand the history and what this really is, what are you really picking up? Because the ancestors should be front and center. And this is why I don't understand why people over here in hoodoo would come over here and show you spells and things like that. And none of them, I have not seen not one of them, not many of them, talk about ancestor veneration. They'll come here and talk to you about a root. They'll come here and talk to you about a herb. They'll come here and talk to you about a spell. They'll tell you all that stuff. But ain't nobody talking about shadow work. Ain't nobody talking about consistent ancestor veneration. Because if that ain't popping off, you ain't getting far in your practice. Ain't nobody saying that. Now I don't know why they ain't saying it. I don't know. But that's important. Okay? You ain't gonna know how important it is until you hit a brick wall and your stuff don't work no more, and then you sitting up looking crazy. You don't know what's going on. You don't know why it's not working. Okay? And that's usually be what's going on there. Needs to be talked about more. It's too much spell work and all that stuff. It's the hype, the hijacking is going on. Okay? That's what's going on there. The hijacking is going on. And this is the part don't nobody like. I was hearing that these teachers talking about they was walking out the class because they can't get their students to do anything. They're having whole lessons and nobody's listening. But I bet you if you said something about that cell phone, or you said something about social media, I bet them kids know everything about that. Okay, but they're I definitely see the problem here. And some of us like to be entertained. We love fluff. We don't like to be uncomfortable. And shadow work requires you to be uncomfortable. It requires you to look at why do you want to jump into everybody's business and tell them how to do it and what to do it. Some of us like that. Why you want to jump in people's business and try to? You think you can do stuff better than? And why do you think it's your job to save them? It's not. You're not their God. It's not your job to save them. Sometimes we do this, with people we don't know. Sometimes we do it with family members. And then you wonder why, they're dodging you or whatever. Or you can't do anything by yourself. You can't do anything independently by yourself. You can't do anything independent. You always got to be grabbing for somebody, reaching for somebody. You can't go here by yourself. You can't do anything. You got people like that. They refuse to do anything by themselves. They don't want to be in their own company. They want to be always reaching out for somebody else. They want to always be stealing somebody else's energy. Because that's what's going on there. You want to always, you got that going on there too. Or you think you ought to be getting the things, have access to people without, a proper relationship being developed. I can't tell you how many people come in my box and ask me questions, and I'm just like, and the questions that they asking me, you should be booking a reading. I can't give you the answer that I again, we have to look at our energy and what we're doing. What are we doing? Okay? So look at what you're doing. Uh and sometimes we're letting people invade our space. We're letting people take advantage of us. And we're not saying no. No. No is a complete sentence. You don't have to explain anything. And it's okay for people to be pissed off at you. That means you're doing it right. That means that they were benefiting off you having a lack of boundary. And now they're pissed off because you're saying no. So you will see that happen. You know, my thing is, if there is no friction, if you're doing this and everything is going perfectly fine, then I'm going to be, and you're saying, oh, everything's great. I just been doing shadow work. I just been, no, you should not feel it should, if you're doing it right, there should be some shifts and changes and things that's going on there, even with family and friends, because it's going to let you know who has been taking advantage of your energy. Even when you get angry, I felt that the other day. I had a reading going on, and I was getting angry. I said, "Why am I getting angry right here? Why is that angering me?" I said, "Because this person is crossing the boundary, and you're gonna have to politely let them know. Look, you will not allow that type of behavior to go on if they want to continue to interact with you." So, and had I not been, again, I didn't react to the anger. I was like, okay, why is it there? Why am I angry about this? So because this you did everything you were supposed to do, and this person is steady trying to drain you. They're steady trying to, this is them. And this is a boundary with you, and you need to go ahead and place it with them because this is something going on with them. It has nothing to do with you. Okay. And so when I saw it happening, I said, okay, I'm gonna place a boundary with them and say what I'm not gonna allow. Okay. And I'm going about my business. They have to look at what they're doing. I'm just, you can do that. You just can't do it with me. Okay. And I just had to really tell them, you can do that. Have to told many people that you can do exactly what you want, but you can't do that with me. That's my boundary. Now, maybe somebody else like that, but that's not what I like. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. Maybe it's somebody out there that like that. It's just not me. Okay. So you have, again, be, you know, your energy is precious. And when you feel something like that going on, and for me, when I feel something that angers me and it triggers, bring up a little anger, and I'm like, okay, why am I angry? I go to questioning it right off the bat. I don't respond to it. I don't react to it. I'm questioning, why am I like this? What's going on here? Because I want to know if it's coming from me, or if this is, and my boundaries being over, again, invaded. But if you haven't, taken the time to really sit with your emotions and really question them, uh, you can be missing a lot of psychic information. Okay, and because I've you know, paused with people many times and say, okay, what's going on here? Okay. Sometimes it's a miscommunication. And sometimes I'm understanding, like I said, it's a miscommunication. And many times when you see that going on, if you feeling angry about something, it's because somebody is trying to invade your boundary. I felt that again with a family member of mine. And I was like, why am I feeling so angry, when they rolling up on me like this? I mean, they were texting me, I had already set a boundary like, we can talk at this time. Can we just talk at this time? I don't want to interact every day. And yet I placed that boundary and that person persisted to text me. And I was like, I was getting upset. I was like, what the heck? I know I was very clear about that. And when I did, and then you know, my spirit guide said, don't respond because this person is just trying to see if they can, if you're just kidding about your boundaries. They think you're playing, so don't respond. So I didn't respond. They just kept texting, and I did not respond. I said, I'm not responding until the day I agreed on to interact with you. You can't just pull me. No. And so when that day arrived, I began to interact with the person. They were all hysterical. They were crying, and I was like, "What is going on?" I said, "I told you, when I wanted to communicate with you." And this is called low. Again, these are called low boundaries because you'll have some people you can't really talk to every day, or you want to choose how you communicate with them, especially if this a loved one. And with this particular loved one, I wanted again low boundaries where we can just text. I don't want to talk to you on the phone. I just want to text and kind of interact with you. I want to choose. I don't want to have a lot of access because that's not good for my energy. Okay. So for my energy, I need to interact with you only through text once a week. I don't want to interact every day. That's my boundary. Okay. That's all I can take. Okay, that's for me. I'm not blaming it on you or anything. That's all my nervous system can take uh from the interaction. I would like to communicate with you once a week at this time through text. Nothing else beyond that because I'm doing this for me. This is the best thing for my energy. You see how I'm not blaming it on them? I'm not blaming it on them. I'm doing this for me because my nervous system cannot take a lot of interaction with that person. So if I know this, I'm setting the boundary with that person right off the back here. I can talk to you this day at this time, only this day and this time. Now, if they choose to, break that boundary again, I can again refer them back to the first uh, thing I set with them, the first discussion I had that this is the day. And so that's what I had to do with this person. I said, hey, remember I told you I can only talk to you on this day by text. And they were crying and upset. I was just like, why are you so upset like that? I mean, uh, why are you so upset? Because I told you, this person was so upset, but it was their own abandonment issues that was coming up. Okay. It was the fact that I had asserted my boundary and I was not letting them, I wasn't breaking my boundary for them. So it was the lack of control over the situation, but it had a crazy effect on them. Was that my problem? No, because they needed to figure out why they was doing that. You're getting some out of that energy. You wasn't able to extract that energy from me when you wanted to. And when you didn't get your way, you lost your crap. Okay, they were so upset. I was just like, I didn't understand why you kept doing that. And we had a discussion, and they were like, I know you did tell me. I don't know why I'm like this. Okay, so they got a chance to look at their own stuff. And sometimes those boundaries help people do their own self-reflection because I'm not going to be having a whole bunch of interaction with you and you're depleting my energy like that. My energy don't feel well when I have a lot of interaction with you. So pay attention to yourself. And some people they get upset when you place a boundary with them because they can't get access to your energy when they want it. I've seen it with my own eyes. Okay. So you would see that, and did I know that was going to impact her like that? No, I didn't. I knew something was going on, having too much interaction with her, but I didn't know how much, I was saving myself until I placed the boundary and seeing their reaction. They're getting something out of having unlimited access to me. She was getting something out of it, and then when she didn't get it, she had a nervous breakdown. You got some people like that. And you won't know you're like that until you start doing your shadow work, or if somebody start placing boundaries with you. And again, it wasn't, I didn't blame it on her. I knew that something was going on. Like I had told my remember telling my therapist about it. I was like, I feel like this with her, and why am I getting so angry with that? She's like, because they're crossing a boundary and you haven't placed it. She said, place a boundary and see how it feels. Okay. And little did I know she was very right. You don't know how people are feeding off your energy. Some of us like this stuff. Now that's why a lot of us we can't, you know, I look at people that loves to be in relationships back to back to back. They don't give themselves room to get to know themselves. They always have to be in a romantic relationship. In fact, they don't feel whole. They just can't, they don't care if it's a toxic relationship. They just got to be in one. Okay. Again, when we start doing this, we begin to understand what works. We begin to again assess our needs. We start to feel a whole. We begin to recognize patterns in people in our communities. We get a chance to see things. So you get a really chance to assess how you feel around people. Why are you feeling this anxious around people? You know, I had a issue come up the other day, and this woman, I was in the middle of doing something, but now that I look back at it, I'm like, I really don't like her style, and I'm gonna have to check this woman because I don't like the way she rolled up on me. I was out there with my daughter, and she's obsessed with my condo, and I don't understand that because I'm like, there's so many other condos. Why you obsessed with my condo? I didn't tell you to go move in a one bedroom condo. You knew you had children. So it's other two-bedroom condos. Why is you rolling up on me like this? And she kind of rolled up on me and she was kind of in my face and space. And again, these people, and I'm still adjusting. One thing I'm having to adjust to with being abroad is there's a lack of personal space. I have never seen people who want to walk up on people the way they do here. I ain't never seen nothing like it. And that maybe that's my little autism and stuff that's going on, but I don't want you rolling up on me, my personal space, you know. I have to really get used to being close to people in here in Thailand because there is a lack of personal space. People will roll up on you. Places are tight. I'm not used to brushing arms with nobody, you know. So I look, there is something I'm still trying to adjust to in Thailand. 'Cause I think there is a lack of personal space here. I don't know. I don't understand it. In America, it's a little different because we have personal space. You're not going to have anybody kind of getting up in your space that close. Okay, we kind of keep a little feet back. But in these places, they love rolling up on. I mean, they don't mind it. I'm just like, huh. And I just feel a certain kind of way because I feel like you're walking in my aura. So I'm constantly bathing and cleansing myself in these spaces because I just can't. I'm still adjusting to that. So that's one of the things I adjust about adjusting to. But she kind of rolled up on me and she started talking about my apartment and her business and all that. It's like, look, here's the realtor's number if he got a two-bedroom or whatever, because I'm kind of. I hope you don't roll up on me no more. Okay, I really not. It's not a hey, how you doing? It's I just don't like it. Okay, so the next time that she does this, I'm gonna have to let her know. Look, look. I've given you the number, and that's all I'm willing to talk about. I don't want to have this discussion with you anymore. Okay? I've given you what you needed, and please, I don't want to have a discussion with you anymore. This doesn't feel right. Okay, so I now that I know it makes me feel ucky because I was like, this woman keep rolling up on me like this. Look, hey, that ain't my problem. Stop giving your problem to me. I don't want this problem. Okay, this is your problem, and please, I don't want to talk about your problem any longer. I'm giving you the number. Hey, go take care of that. Okay. But I kind of feel like she is going to be a problem because Thailand, again, there's a lot of Israelis here, and they have had some problems. Thailand vendors and merchants have had some problems with Israelis. They've had to bar them out of some of their businesses. Okay. And they have been buying up things, and they've been having problems with these people here. And I think I've discussed this in one of our groups. And Tyler, be careful because these people, they feel entitled. Some of the interaction they have had with Tyler people, these people, they come with that entitlement. Okay, I think I'm not sure if that was the same interaction I had um, when I and the young lady from UK. We I don't know if this woman was from Russia, or if she was Israeli, but she was definitely had that entitled type of attitude. But they definitely have that entitled attitude here, and I'm not sure if she's that. I'm not sure what she is, but I definitely didn't feel comfortable with the interaction with the way she rolls up on me. I just, there was her second time. Third time, I'm just gonna, hey, look, I've given you the number. And I don't want to have this conversation with you no more. I don't know. I don't care about you chose to stay in there. Okay. There was 2 bedrooms, condos all over Thailand. Why are you obsessed with this one? Why are you obsessed with this one? So I don't know where that's coming from. So I know I don't know if I'm gonna address that again. Hopefully she doesn't roll up on me again. But I have to place a boundary with her. Say, look, I don't want to have the discussion anymore. Talk to the jurist. Talk to the people management over here, or you need to go find your realtor because I don't understand what you're doing. Okay, so I'm probably gonna have another conversation with her. She's got some obsession. It just doesn't make any sense because you know how many condos they have over Thailand, and then they're constantly rebuilding them. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And uh, the condo place that I'm in, there's 3 buildings here, so there's 2 bedrooms all over every place that's probably empty here. So why are you obsessed with this one? I just don't understand it. Okay, so that's my take with that. So I think that me and her will probably have another conversation. I'm sure we will because that was her second time rolling up on me. So I'm gonna have to place a banner with her. And I think for me, that's a lesson that the ancestors have really been working with me with placing boundaries. And it's been very, very hard because I have been a pushover. I love to do things for people, and I'm still looking at that in myself. So don't think I don't wrestle with that myself. Okay. And sometimes the only way I can tell that a boundary is being pushed because I'm so happy go lucky and go with the flow type of thing is when I'm triggered, something doesn't feel right. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? Because I'm questioning what's going on, why I'm feeling like this, why I'm feeling like this. And then, my intuition, my spirit guides come and say, hey, this is not what you're supposed to be doing. You're gonna have to dial back. Okay. And so even myself, I struggle with it too. The only reason why I am able to, I feel like I'm able to get a handle on it is because I'm asking myself why I feel this way. And that's an important thing. Do not ignore how you feel. And don't be letting anybody try to hijack you out of feeling a certain way because people are trying to, that's not it. Girl, you just imagining stuff. Boy, you just imagine stuff. Eh, Your body's not lying to you. Your body is a bio spiritual unit. It is picking up all sorts of vibes before you even are conscious of it. That's your body letting you know, hey, something going on, something is off. I don't care. Even though, because that's why you got people manipulating your energy. Okay, they lying to you. That's like the ancestors tell you, them folks be sitting up lying to you in your face and got knife in their hand, stabbing you in your back while they talking to you. We know people do that, okay? Hey, Black Magic Mike. So again, stay aware. Can listen to your body. It's not lying to you. And then on down the road, they do some crazy stuff, and then you gonna be like, I knew I had that feeling. My gut feeling was telling me don't do that. That's why you need to listen to it. It may not make sense to you, but your body is picking up again these vibes. You know, when you walk into a room, you can feel if it's tension in the room. Why? Because your body sensory is picking it up even before you're conscious of it. It's a shame that people would take advantage of nice and would use you until they can't anymore. They will. You see it all the time. I see it all the time. When these people, they always want something free. They always want something free. You can provide them with, I deal with it on a daily basis. Uh, but you'll see it with some of the tarot readers. Them people will keep on trying to get free readings from people. You have them drunk for reader, getting a free reading. That's all they want. They ain't gonna ever buy a free. They ain't gonna never buy a reading, but they always want something free. In fact, you'll get some of these people that would jump in your box and try to have a whole conversation with you, wanting you to help them identify issue, and they don't want to book a reading. That's why I have to say some of you guys, some of you, and I'm not blaming you, but some of you are dealing with parasitic vampiric energy, and you don't want to do anything about it. You want to be the victim. You want to always be absorbing somebody. That's not a good sign. It's not. It is not. And you'll see the readers that do this. If they don't take a break, you can slowly start seeing them lose a lot of their life force and energy. They'll get tired. And some of them, I've had people, I have done a free reading and the reading be over, and they'll jump in my, and because I don't hardly do them. I do them very rarely because I think they draw parasites. It draws out parasitic behavior in people. You can't, ain't nothing good gonna come from it because ain't nothing but you're gonna draw a whole bunch of parasites. They don't look at themselves like that, but that's what they are. Okay. And I've seen them jump in my inbox and say, I missed the live reading. Can you give me a reading now? Yeah. The entitlement. And they feel no shame with it. Okay. It's people like that. Okay. So, you won't see it until you start placing boundaries. I have to tell them either you book a reading. Now, when I offer them to book a reading or come to the next live, they don't want to book a reading, but they want a free reading. Why would you want that? Why would you want that? You guys can really have to start thinking about things. And a collective reading doesn't mean that's a personal reading for you. I get some people that, you know, they follow so many collective reading, they have applied this collective reading to their personal life, and their personal life doesn't reflect the collective reading. And so now you got to undo a whole bunch of stuff because they've followed these collective readings like it's a personal reading for them. No, you need your own personal reading. Okay. So again, when you begin as a practitioner and if you begin to heal, this stage of the journey can be deeply emotional as we learn about the struggles of our ancestors, the marching, the protesting, protecting their communities. And for me, when I really got into that part of the shadow work, looking at what our ancestors had been through and what I had experienced in my personal life, and how my personal life and my the stuff in my family was echoes, wounds that echoed from, what happened to them. A lot of grief took place. How you doing, shamanic, what is this, seer? Okay. So again, a lot of grieving took place, and I think when we understand and we sit with what happened to our ancestors, especially in hoodoo, that's why we talk about it. We get a chance to sit with them and grieve. And we do the shadow work, we get a chance to see how that stuff is embedded in our family. If we get a chance to look at ourselves and look at how some of these energies are in us. Okay. Is that unicorn? Okay. Shamani unicorn seer. Okay. Hey. So again, we get a chance to look at our ancestors. We can look at how these things were passed on. And you have the power to start working on those things. And don't beat yourself up about what you see, whether you have a poverty mindset or if you had ancestors that we have ancestors that were always takers. They was always taking something. They was always looking for somebody to give them something. We got ancestors like that. I had some family members like that in my family. They always looking for somebody to give them something, that owe them something. Those are the things that we have to work on. Okay? We you know, we have some of that in our family. And so I had to look at that too. Where do I get that from? Why am I doing that? So ask yourself the hard question. Don't beat yourself up when you find that in there or something you don't like in there. Again, question where it come from and what can you do to start healing it? Okay. And so again, when you start looking at shadow work and ancestors, shadow work is ancestors work. Because when you start looking at it, it's going to take you back to your childhood. It's going to take you back to your family. We're going back to the origin and root. It is real root work. Shadow work is real root work. It is ancestral work. And so when we start doing the ancestral work, doing this kind of work, you can see our relationship with our ancestors, it deepens. Our intuition becomes heightened because we know more about ourselves. We're questioning our feelings. We're not making assumptions. We're more curious about our thinking and our feelings. And therefore, our discernment becomes better. Hey, Kizzy. Therefore, our discernment becomes better and better. Okay, but we're not gonna beat up on ourselves because a lot of stuff happened to our ancestors, and so you're gonna see a lot of different uh, genetic patterns in the DNA. And for my line, there's a lot of there's some mother wound stuff going on in there. There is some abandonment going on in there. See, I know what's going on in my DNA, in my genetics because I've seen it. I'm breaking it down. I've seen the pattern in it. Okay, so I could tell when, hey, this is something going on with me, or I need to address this in myself. Okay. Do I beat myself up about it? No, because all of us have some type of wounds. That trauma that happened to them, like that, you can't expect. Now a lot of us are starting to out some of the SA that's in our family, a lot of the abuse that's in our genetic line. A lot of us, again, are trying to heal using our voice to come to social media and heal and tell it. But after we tell it, we also have to acknowledge too that those wounds are sitting up on our spirit and we got to move it out. We've done that part. Now we got to sit with ourselves and start working on ourselves. Because what happens is once you notice this thing, we want to stay the victim. Some people love to stay the victim and keep blaming so they don't have to heal. Now you seeing that now with Lord, and it kind of ticks me off, ancestors, please help me. You kind of seeing that now with Israel. They playing the victim. That happened to us. We the victim. People trying. Let me tell you something. That only happened to y'all for 3 or 4 years. Try that happening to you on a daily basis for 300 or 400 years. You have no excuse to go around here terrorizing stuff. And I really don't believe that stuff happened to you. Because if that stuff happened to you, ain't no way you're gonna do the same thing that was done to you to somebody else. It doesn't make sense. And believe me, I come from trauma. 400 years of it. And none of our people is thinking about doing what was done to them to you. So I know that can't be true what happened to you. That can't be true. Because here I am, I'm looking at 300, 400 years. I mean, the way y'all ate us and the things that you did to us. I mean, the unnameable things. Some things I can't even name on this thing because they probably shut this thing down. And you saying that happened to you, and you doing it to other people. Ain't no way in the hell it happened to you, and you doing this stuff to other people with a smile on your face. Matter of fact, you can't stop being violent. And they've been doing this to this very day to us, traumatizing us, and you don't see us out there doing stuff like that to other people because it was done to us. You don't see us crying to be victim. You see us crying for some justice for y'all to change your raggedy self. And then had a nerve to call somebody anti-Semitic because they don't want to go along with your regular behavior. Y'all done fooled the world with that. Made up stories like something happened to you. Ain't nothing happened to you. None of that happened to you. You just lied. You again stealing people identity. And you feel like if that's happened to you, that give you permission to get sympathy to terrorize other people because that's what y'all pale face people are doing. And them people ain't got no Semitic. No, them people is not Semitic at all. They don't even want to have no damn blood test. So how can they be Semitic? They don't even want you to look at their blood. It don't make no sense. Okay? Them folks need to have been put in jail. That whole organization need to be put in jail somewhere. And then you talking about, Iran. No. Iran ain't went around here doing this stuff that you doing. Iran is not in the Epstein files. Okay? You are. You are. Them people is not in that. Okay? So you really have to start questioning things and looking at things. So again, we're going to go into this collectively. Okay? Now, what's going on, mama? Just tapping in. We're just going over again a little bit of the shadow work again. I'm getting ready to wrap it up and go into the collective shadow work, and I've been going in and out. Now, even though in the ATRs, and I don't know why they don't talk about this, even though they're in the ATRs and you're being, it's being influenced in the way where you're going to level up getting in the ATR. I have to, even in Hoodoo, I have to tell you, character work is so important because these spirits are not going to be rocking with you if they can't trust you. If you don't have a relation, and in some ATRs, I've heard them say, if you don't have a relationship with your ancestors, ain't none of these deities gonna talk to you. They see you as a disgrace. I've heard some ATR say this. Why would a deity want to talk to you and you ain't even right with your ancestors? Because the ancestors, again, it is the anchor and the foundation of you walking into the ATRs because all of the ATRs were created by the ancestors. And we go to looking at the laws and we go looking at the Orishas, we start to find out that some of them were real, actual people. Integrity is key. A lot of people don't, they don't see that. Okay? So if you're not aligned with those ancestors and you have people over there in the practice now, I think that's why you see a lot of hijacking going on. You see a lot of misinformation, people getting in houses, and the houses are just they're not proper. Um, you're seeing this because people are skipping this part. There's no character work being done. People don't have a solid foundation with their ancestors, and they're going to reaching for these orishas and deities and things like that. And they have not properly done the character work or been properly aligned with their ancestors before working with these orishas. And you have some people, or lords, and then you have some people, they get in there, you know, and they're having to do a lot of ebos, they're having to do a whole bunch of rituals and things like that because of lack of this character work, and they keep making these mistakes. But this is important. I mean, it's nowhere around it. Now they may call it by different names, uh, but for a lack of a better term, and for this modern, you know, the modern society, it's been called shadow work. But it is truly ancestors work, because you're going back looking at familiar, and you're upgrading the DNA, throwing away all the false beliefs, healing all the wounds that were passed on to you that was in your generational line. And this is even more effective if you're doing this work and you have children. This is really going to be good for you if they're young children, because when you start to see the changes and shift in yourself, it just contagious that medicine will trickle on down to the children. You start to shift and change, you'll start to see the shift and change in your family, especially if you have young children. You'll see the medicine start to trickle down. Okay, because when you get better, especially mama, when you get better, then you heal the whole family. Okay, because you set the tone for the medicine, the interaction. Okay, so let's go on. So I just said that. Okay, so let's go on here. Within Hoodoo, the ancestors are present in nearly every aspect of the practice. There's no way to get around it. I've had people, and I have to have this conversation again. Who ancestors help me? I've had people that are just straight out doing hoodoo. I mean, they are doing spells and everything, and don't have an ancestor altar. In fact, they are scared of an ancestor altar. Now, this does not make sense to me. I will say this again, because you're doing something very spiritual, which is magic, but you don't want an ancestor altar. It is just beyond me. And I've already come here and told you, ain't no magic popping, ain't nothing really popping off if you ain't working with no spirit. We're going to go into this further when we go into ritual. This is why I take you directly to the resources, so you'll see this and so you can dodge the hijacking what people have been telling you. It trips me out. But you scared of the ancestors, but you want to do magic. You're working with plant spirits. You're working with, all sorts of spirits when you're picking up, putting things together. Water spirits. I mean, fire spirits. But you don't want an ancestor altar. And some of them they got a magic altar in their house, but they don't want the ancestor altar in the house. They want it outside. They would rather have the I said, you are opening, you crossing yourself up doing this. Some of you cross yourself up and you don't even know it. Okay. It makes no sense to me when you do that. And then some of you are very good in your practice. You got this going. Uh, you've been getting a lot of traction in your practice, but you still don't feel anchored in it. And this could be because a lack of consistent shadow work, or just a lack of mentor in community. Okay, because some of you are doing okay in your practice and it's going. Um, and then I find out, you know, usually when I sit down with you, it be like the lack of community that's going on with you, or just a little lack of mentorship that's going on with you. Okay, and sometimes it could be a lack of two. What I've seen too. One of the biggest things is you have ancestors on the altar that don't need to be up there. Now I see that a lot. I know you want your family members up there. I want that for you. But if you know your family members was raggedy people and they wasn't even good to you here, you know they had problems while they was here. Why you gonna put them on that altar and you think they're gonna support you in everything you do? And I'm telling you what happens here is that you're gonna be confused. Everything is gonna be foggy. You're gonna get mixed messages. You're gonna be confused. And some of you, even when I ask you, okay, you got family members on there. Some of you will tell me that, and you'll say, yeah, I got Aunt John, Aunt Josie up there, and I got Uncle Bo up there, and I got my grandma Sally up there. And then I will ask you, okay, well, how was your relationship with them? Oh, they was good. They was good. But when you're saying this, too, have you did the shadow work yet before you're saying that? Some of you have not did the shadow work, because if you did the shadow work and go back and look at Uncle Bo and all them other stuff, you will start to find out that your family is not well. But when you're sick in the mind, you can't see that. You can't see the shadow work that your family and the healing that your family needs. If you're sticking them up there and go past shadow work, because somewhere you're gonna get fogged up, you're gonna be confused, and try to figure out what's going on. You're gonna know because you skip shadow work and you put your family up there and you convinced that all of them as well. After the fact, they have 400 years of being dehumanized, and you think they was okay. I just, I would invite you before you do that is to only call on your most elevated ancestors and do the shadow work. And after you've done that shadow work, then contact those ancestors. If they reach out to you, then put them on the altar. But don't assume because they have passed on that you can slap them on the altar and now they work for you. And that no, 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 no. It don't work like that. And even if there is family members working for you like that, and if any other practitioners that's seasoned, they're not gonna do everything for you. Usually family members have particular things they do. They don't support you in all your work. You might get a family member, they'll probably say, hey, you contact them, yeah, I'll do this, but you're gonna give me some gin, and that's all I'm gonna do. Make sure you put some gin up there and give me something to eat, but that's all I'm gonna do. Don't ask me to do nothing else. You got family members like that. They the same way they was living, they're gonna be the same way when they passed away. They're not totally gonna be complying with everything you do because they're your family. Now, versus the most elevated ancestors, they have the energy to support you in more of the things that you and teach you more of the things than your most recent relatives can. Don't just assume that they were healthy people, they were good people. You had a good relationship. Don't just assume that they were healed. No, do your shadow work first so you can start seeing some of the stuff in your family. That way you can make a conscious decision to choose which one of those ancestors. Now, can you honor them? Yeah, you can honor them. You know, I would recommend you do that after the shadow work. But far as working with them, doing work with them like that, when you know that they had some issues going on, I don't recommend that. It has to make sense. Do not. It's not a one size fit all. Not all family members be wanting to work with you. Now a lot of people want to hear that because they want to fall in the assumption that all their family members, not a lot of people want to hear that. Okay, so I want to help you dodge the hijacking because I definitely don't want to put an uncle on there. There's family members on there I would never put on my altar in honor. There's a few family members. No, you would never go on my altar. I would not ever utter your name because I don't like you like that. I have that same boundary that I had in this world. It goes in the afterlife too. Don't roll up on me. I don't want to see you in a dream. I don't want to talk to you. I don't like you. Okay, and those boundaries still vibrate in the astral realm like they do in the physical realm. Okay, so don't just assume that everybody goes in that altar. And if you do have family members on there, and you haven't done any shadow work, I want to welcome you to go back and do the shadow work and really look at that. Just look at your family members and make sure they're well enough to support you. So doing the shadow work is going to really help you understand if they're well enough to work with. Are they well enough to support you? Were they really supportive of you when they were living? And I know a lot of y'all don't want to hear that, but it's the truth, okay? And family member doesn't mean ancestors doesn't always mean family members because again, you'll have ancestors there are affinity that that support you as well. So we've already covered that, and we covered that more in our community. And I think too, because ancestor veneration is not being fully uh, understood, it just people think, oh, it's just my family. No, it's a lot deeper than that and more vast. So it goes really beyond your family, okay? Than your immediate family and who you are, okay? So again, we need to understand our emotional patterns. And so when we understand our emotional patterns and understand more about ourselves, our intuition it heightens, our discernment becomes better, and we have a clear spiritual communication becomes clear because it's not muddled by wounds, it's not muddled by old belief systems. Uh, it becomes clear. So we can get more clear messages from our ancestors. We can discern better, and our intuition becomes better. Okay, that's what we're doing when we're doing the shadow work, and you will notice this. And this requires a lot of us to be sitting down somewhere, being quiet. Yeah, a lot of time you start this practice, you'll be keeping your mouth shut a lot. You won't be saying too much. You'll really be doing a lot of assessments, self-assessments, and really observing your environment and people around you. So a lot of that will be going on. A lot of hushing your mouth will be going on, and a lot of opening your mouth about what you need to heal from. Okay, so you're going to learn discernment. You're going to learn those things. Asking yourself questions. Why do you believe this? Where did I get this idea from? Where did this originate? Why I think that? You know, uh, does this align with the truth? Is this truth or is this spreading fear in me? Where did I get this from? Okay. As the shadow work deepens, practitioners begin to see patterns more clearly, not only within themselves, but within others as well. You'll start seeing stuff in people. You know, you will start seeing, and you can't unsee it because the more you learn about your psychological, again, your psychology, your behavior patterns, and all that, you going into the study of self. And so the more you go into the study of self, it'll be easily for you to assess other humans. You'll constantly be assessing them. And you won't be doing it. It's just your discernment pick it up because you have used this knowledge to assess yourself uh and bring about your own healing, you will begin to do that with other people. You will just automatically start assessing them. That's when your discernment comes in. Okay. Knowledge of self is the greatest knowledge you could ever learn. And when you go out there and you start using it with people, you can pretty much kind of tell what they got going on with them when you start listening to them. And I see that in my community, and I know the self healing circle community. And I know people think that I don't be listening. I can sometimes repeat back exactly what they told me. They don't even remember what they shared about, but I can go back verbatim and repeat what they shared. Why? Because I was listening. I was assessing. I can pretty much tell them if they was to book a private appointment with me, I can tell them I can push on every wound that they need to work on. But my job is just to listen in there and assess. Believe me, when we go to talking, I have surprised a lot of people in my community. I said, "You remember everything I said?" Yes, I did. I'm not sitting up in here. You think I'm not listening to you? I'm listening to you. Okay, I know what's going on with you. You may not know what's going on with you. Okay? That's why we're here, so you can figure that out. My job is not to just outright tell you. It's better if you come to that discovery on your own. But yeah, I'm listening to your story. Okay? I know what's going on with you. Okay? I get a I learn too from listening to you. Then two, I get a chance to kind of really see, okay, they're going to need support in this area, in this area. I get a chance to assess, okay, how can I help them? Because when they come, if they come to me for help, then I know where to send them to get what they need. So when I'm in these meetings, I'm just not, I'm listening. I'm also sharing too, but I am listening to you. And you may forget what you share, but I haven't because it taught me something. Okay. And I'm here to learn more about you and to see you. I really see you. Okay. That's what you're there for. You're there for me to see you and hear you. So yeah, I really see you and hear you. Okay. So again, hey, how you doing? I might say I was at was it Devo Honduras? Probably said that wrong. Okay, so shadow work again, it deepens. Okay, you're going to learn so much more about people and about yourself as well. But it requires honesty, and not people. Many people are required to. They're not ready to face that. They're not ready to look at some of the stuff that they do. They always want to blame, blame, blame. And that's the thing. Yes, things were done to us, but once you get in the shadow work, that blaming and victimhood is gone. You'll see people when they start discovering. I was the same way. I was steady blaming. Oh, they did this to me. Oh, they did this. My mama did this. My sister did this. My sister did that. Oh, they did the most unnameable things to me. Oh, how is that healing? That ain't healing. You becoming a victim. And there is no victims, only willing participants. Many times there is no victimhood, there's willing participant. And some people, they love being a victim because they get more attention being a victim. Clean these kills instead of clean the glass out there and get clean the way I want to. Okay? They're willing participants. They matter of fact, they don't know no other way to be but a victim and blame other people. And so I did that. And so once I had to stop that. Okay? And it's a part in our program. And I think it gets to, I don't know if it's the third or fourth phase in the program. Um, where we get to looking at our wrongdoings. Oh yeah, you get a chance and we go through your wrongdoings too. Cause you gotta sit with it. You ain't no angel either. There has been some choices. Did you make those choices to be malicious? No. Some of us was in survival mode. We made the best choice we could make in that time to the best of our ability. Okay, we didn't know any better. Okay, okay, Adonis. So we made the best choice. So we don't beat ourselves up behind that, but we see how our choices impacted other people's lives, how it hurt other people. And we own that. And once we start looking at the things that we did, whether we did it unknowingly, knowingly, purposefully, not purposely, we look at that. That's when the blame stops and accountability begins. So everybody want to look at you know. I want to do. I want. It felt good to blame other people for what happened to me. It really does, because you get a chance to, okay, I'm placing accountability where it should go. Now, when I looked at my wrongdoings, I said, "Oh my God, I can't even keep the blaming going on. That's got to stop. I got to work on the stuff that I done did." And I had to start making amends. I had to apologize to my children for giving them for them having a raggedy mama, because I was raggedy. I was raggedy. I was raggedy. Wasn't there like I was supposed to be. Didn't know I had all those wounds on me. Didn't know I was all messed up the way I was. Didn't know it. Okay, so I had to make amends to them. Then I had to make amends to my sisters, not being, not being the sister that I really wanted to be to them. Okay, so I'm cleaning up my side of the street. Clean up my side, because I'm cleaning my slate now. You get a clean slate. And see, when you start doing this, it will feel like a clean slate too. No matter how many times somebody try to bring up your past or whatever, you have made a clean slate by doing the shadow work, because again, your behavior has changed. You have taken accountability. You have reached out to these people that have made amends and let them know, hey, I no longer participate in those behaviors. I hold myself accountable and I question myself. Okay, that's what the amends about. Amends about change behavior. It's not saying I'm sorry and keep on doing regular stuff. It's saying, okay, I did that and I'm aware of that. And I am not going to engage in that type of behavior again. And you will see it through our relationship and our interaction together. Nobody gets to that part though. It's much easier to be a victim. But once you start putting your raggedy stuff down on a piece of paper, that's when your mouth starts shutting. And you also see where you were giving your power away uh for people to abuse you too. You'll see circumstances like that. That's not the case in all circumstances, but sometimes we open ourselves up to be abused when we don't assert boundaries and we don't say no, and we're people pleasers. And sometimes we are willing participants in some of our own abuse. Not all of it, but some of it, because we didn't say no and we wanted to be people pleasers. And we were only, hurting ourselves, trying to get some validation or acknowledgement through other people. And this the part people don't want to talk about. And then be able to sit down with somebody and say these things out loud. So not only what happened to you, but what you did to other people. And honey, I did not like that list, but I had to say it, it felt good to say it out loud to another person, because I was releasing a whole bunch of that stuff that was keeping me hostage that I was ashamed of. Okay. And I felt all this heaviness leave off of me, and I had a clean slate. It felt like a clean slate. Could nobody take that from me, baby? Because I know what I did. I wasn't afraid to say what I did. I made the mistake. I think the beautiful thing about that, if you have not went to a 12-step meeting, especially uh Alcoholic Anonymous or Narcotic Anonymous, these people are freeing themselves. They have done the most. These are brave people. They have did the most jacked up stuff. I remember going to a Narcotic Anonymous meeting, and this lady, she just freed herself. She said, I was just so messed up. I sold my baby's Pampers. I sold my baby's milk just so I can get a hit. She said, it's just how sick I was. Do you know how much? you know how brave you have to be and how many chains she broke by standing up saying that? That's courageous. That was very courageous. Some people can't even admit their mistakes like that. And we're looking at it now. These people made a huge mistake. They went over there and they dropped, you know, did that to them people and to them little girls and everything. And y'all won't even acknowledge you did that. And here is Iran. They apologize for their behavior, and you gonna call them weak? No, you're weak because you don't even understand the darkest parts of yourself and won't apologize for your raggedy behavior. That tells us that you would never make an amends for that. That tells me that this type of behavior will be ongoing for you because you lack self-reflection. Iran is very aware of what they're doing. You are not. Matter of fact, it's a war on consciousness and trying to, again, gaslight us into thinking that you are not raggedy and you are the most raggedest people we have ever seen in the last 300, 400 years. Okay, so there's power too in looking at those parts of yourself and getting your power back and say, hey, I'm not going to let this shame me. I'm not going to let this embarrass me. It takes strength to admit that. They got you thinking to admit my flaws or anything like that, especially doing it with people that you can trust and a person that you can trust. They got you thinking, oh, that's weakness. No, that's a strength because you got many people gaslighting around here, making it look like they stuff don't stink and they don't do nothing wrong ever. That's not real honesty. That's spiritual bypassing, and you're playing with yourself and you're playing with other people. That's all that's happening there. Okay. So being accountability does not mean blaming ourselves for everything that has happened to us. Instead, it means recognizing our ability to respond, grow, and transform. When we accept responsibility for our healing, we reclaim personal power. It's not about perfection. It's about understanding who you are. Okay? And loving the shadow parts of yourself, even those parts of yourself was made to protect you, and they come in handy when you know how to transmute them and use them. Okay, it is about learning how to operate, recognizing your triggers, and understanding the boundaries are necessary to protect your energy. It's also about identifying limitations and discovering how those limitations can become strengths when you approach them with awareness and attention and intention. And this process can be emotionally intense. You'll probably, go on for a week or two doing this and then fall back and then go back at it again. Okay, because it can be emotionally intense depending on what you're trying to heal. But it is very helpful when you're in a community, if you're seeking counseling or therapy. I do not recommend, you will hear me to say this again, that you do shadow work alone. Because what happens, people will escape accountability. Nothing really gets done with it. Okay. And then you have a lot of some people think too that shadow work is just you do it one time, it's complete. No, it's an ongoing process of evolving, becoming better and better each day. Because we're constantly growing, we're constantly changing, and shadow work help you address those changes. What used to be normal and okay last year, it's not a normal and okay this year. We're constantly throwing out stuff that ain't don't serve us no more, and again refining ourselves. So it doesn't end. We're always changing and growing. Because I heard people say that too. Oh, I did my shadow work. What do you mean you did it? This ain't no race. You mean you doing it? You mean you're doing it? Okay. No, it mean you're doing it. You're constantly doing it. You're constantly staying self-aware. We're constantly staying self-aware, keeping ourselves accountable. That's what shadow work is. It's not a well, you might not have to go back to the childhood and all that all over again, but you'll definitely uh, be doing some things as you change and grow. And sometimes it can be back and forth. You know, me and another practitioner was talking about that. She said, every time I think I'm getting rid of something else, it will be something that triggers me, and I have to go back to the beginning and start healing that part. I said, yes, it's like that. Okay, it's normal. You're not doing anything wrong. It's taking, everything is going the way it should. But human beings, we have so many layers to us. And so when things come up, that's our mind telling us, our being too is telling us, okay, I'm ready for us to heal this because I'm being triggered by this. And it's time for me to heal with this. Let's go sit with this for a minute. And that's when you'll find yourself using the spiritual baths. That's when the spiritual bath's gonna come in handy in hoodoo. That's when you're really gonna understand, okay, this is why my ancestors got this, this bath for clearing stuff out, this bath for getting rid of negative energy, this bath for healing. They got something to wash my head when my head is hot, when I'm being triggered. This is when all these psycho spiritual modalities come in handy and they start working. And that's when you start thanking your God, thanking God for the ancestors that left that to you. Because see, now you really know how to use it now that you're using it to heal yourself and not trying to do this frivolous spell stuff. Because that's when it's going to be more effective when you start using it to heal you. That's when you're going to see results of it. Okay? He said, I'm hilarious. I love your energy. Okay, so that's when you're going to see the results of it. That's when you're gonna be treasuring those spiritual baths, those herbs, those oils, those things in the Psalms, washing your head and feet. Okay, these practices activate the elements of hoodoo in very practical ways. Herbs are chosen not only for spiritual symbolism, but also for their ability to regulate the nervous system and calm the emotional distress. Okay. Oils are used as tools to anoint your body, your head, and be more intentional with your practice. And so you'll begin to really understand this work and understand hoodoo when you start using it in that aspect. Hoodoo will heal your whole damn life if you let it. Okay. It ain't for just no spell or just, I'm going over this again, y'all. It ain't just for that. Okay. As we work these tools while engaging in self reflection, the practice itself becomes a form of psycho spiritual healing. We learn about the tradition not merely through study, but through direct experiences. The herbs, the prayers, the rituals become instruments for balancing the energies within our lives. Over time, this work strengthens the relationship with the ancestors and deepens our understanding of the tradition itself. Okay? And eventually, you're going to reach, and if you're really doing this, that's how when I started the way it was healing my life and stuff, I was like, oh my gosh, this is healing my whole life. How dare I just think this was just about spells and things like this, because this is really healing my life. And I saw other people that I was in a healing community with, and we were doing this work, and all of us were reaching for something spiritual. Even though we were going to therapy and all this, a lot of us had been start going and doing massages. A lot of us had start going into Reiki. A lot of us start going into deep meditation. Uh, I mean, yoga. We start reaching for something spiritual, because when you're doing emotional and psychological heal, it's truly something spiritual. You're going to need something. Go to your doctor. Like I tell many of the practitioners over there, yeah, I recommended you go to your doctor, but put this on top of it and see how fast, uh see how your results go. You're going to get better results. Okay, you're going to really start to accelerate spiritually and mentally. You're really gonna open yourself up when, if you add your ancestors' healing modality to it. Add this to it. Do what your doctor say. Go to your therapist and put this on it. And spiritual baths, you will see some really good shifts. I promise you will. I wouldn't tell you that if it wasn't true. But the thing with doing these things are consistency and holding yourself accountable. Okay. And so shadow work is ancestral alignment. It is aligning you with those higher frequency. Uh, Again, those ancestors that's on a higher frequency is helping you heal and move some things out your bloodline. Okay, within ourselves and our bloodline. Now I'm going to move on to the shadow work, collective culture shadow work. Now we're seeing this again collectively. I'm addressing the whole community, my community. And so we're seeing this again come up here with these people. What is collective shadow shadow work? Collective culture shadow work involves examining and addressing the collective shadows that permeate society, such as racism, sexism, homophobia, and other forms of discrimination. It is essential to recognize that these shadows are deeply ingrained and often unconscious, requiring conscious effort to dismantle and internalize. By engaging in collective culture shadow work, individuals can contribute to a more inclusive, equitable society, addressing the systemic injustices and fostering a more compassionate, understanding community. Okay. And so that is something that we lack in our community, especially over there in America. We are steady trying to, set things right, but yet we have these people that want us to regress, and they do not want to look at anything. This is regressing us. Even some of the religion that you have over there, it is not helping us evolve spiritually. And you have a lot of us that's ready to go to that next level. We're ready to go to the level of love, unity, and healing. And yet we have other people there that's holding us back. Like I say, this won't be no love and light thing. And I'm not going to talk about no love and light thing here. Okay. I'm not going to talk about that here. What I am going to talk about is that us collectively as people of color, and we've gone through the de-alienation and things like that, we know what's going on. And now we have integrated into that society, and we probably need to reconsider about that integration, uh, giving light to what is going on now in the developments, because these people are trying to get, and this is the same thing they did to our ancestors. Remember how they dropped those boom booms on our ancestors in Baltimore? They did that right there in America. What they're doing to Iran, they did to our people. Hey, that homeschooler, I'm here now. Okay, we missed you too. But again, this is what they did. Now you got and then what they're doing now in light of everything. Now we got to alienate ourselves from other groups. So we have to go back to the drawing board and say to ourselves, really look at integration and really look at segregation. I think we need to start looking at that if we are to be healthy and keep ourselves whole. There needs to be. We need to look at that. Okay, shadow work, when applied collectively, would mean societies developing the courage to examine their own histories honestly. That kind of work is difficult because it challenges national myths and identities. Yet, without process, cycles of conflict can continue repeating across the generations. Now we see this with these pale faced people. I was just outdone, when I was looking at NATO. Hi, Harris. Hi, Jay Harris. I was just surprised by looking at NATO and looking at United Nations. I said, let me look at this. Let me just look at the people. And I already made assumptions about it before I looked at it. I said, these are pale-faced Europeans trying to make themselves the leader of all people in the world. We got it again, and more of the hijacking y'all going on. So how can we expect these people? You won't even hold these people accountable. Then run over here and start this stuff with people, and then you wonder why we got to keep our foot on your neck. You won't even admit to the raggedy stuff that y'all just keep doing. And can't no healing and peace and unity happen until you admit your wrongdoings. But you want to point at other people wrongdoings and you want to be a victim. Help me, ancestors, because it takes me so much to talk about this. The ancestors so tired of these folks. And it's not like you use a different approach. You've been using this same raggedy stuff for hundreds of years, and you don't think that nobody was gonna get tired of it and nip it in the bud. In fact, you mad at Iran for nipping it in the bud, and as they should. Iran should nip that in the bud. I would too. I support them 1,000%. I do, cause something is wrong with you, and you won't even admit, even though you know this person is a felon, and he has committed not just atrocities against other countries, but in his own country, he has committed atrocities. Y'all letting that regular person go around do that, and then you want us to trust your leadership, and you gonna put your this how sick they are. This is why I gotta be away from there. This is how sick y'all are on a mass scale. This is the sickness that you're dealing with. It's so disgusting, ancestor. And yes, Iran need to keep their foot on your neck. I wouldn't play with you either, because you need a self-realization, because you're not gonna come to it on your own. You could have stopped that y'all could stop that right now and sit that man down and put him and that other man in jail. Period. Because if they were people of color, if this were Africans doing this, y'all would have been did something to them. Oh yes, you would have, if Africans was doing this. If black people was doing this, you'd have been now you'd have put them down somewhere. If Obama was doing the same thing, y'all have been that did something with him. All of you European nations. That's what you said. That's what NATO is. That's what the UN is. They are putting themselves, they're making sure that they can further oppress us by making these international organizations. So basically, what you're saying, we want to internationally oppress Aborigine indigenous people worldwide and give ourselves permissions to do this. That's what's happening there. I'm sick of y'all shit. It's disgusting. I mean, you have made I just made, and then you are spinning stories. I mean, it's a global gaslighting, international gaslighting, with you trying to shift this narrative and make Iran look like they are the people who started this. No, Iran is the people who gonna finish this. And you best believe the Great Spirit is with those people. The Great Spirit is with them. They know exactly. Ain't a God with none of these other folks. Iran got more God in their pinky toe than these European nations got in their whole body and organization. Ain't none of you got nothing godly about you. You just align. You already know who you support. They are from Satan. What did they say? Israel say, I know those who say they are Jews, and truly they are the synagogue of Satan. They're letting you know who's running the show by supporting it, ignoring that. They're purposely ignoring it. So they know they're supporting this. These people, that's letting you know who run this world. These people are utterly dark and rotten. And if you're going to stay in that country, this is what I recommend. You want to shut it down, you're going to have to sit down. You're going to have to stop making it about money and making it about living, and change the whole script. We just went through that in High John. You see how High John, we just talked about that in our community, High John. High John is about, again, changing the narrative. Because again, they was playing with High John mind. He's a trickster spirit. So what do High John do? We flip the scripts. We define it on our own terms. That's exactly what Iran is doing now. Iran is being High John the Conqueror. They're flipping the script. So you don't understand the herb and you don't understand how to use it. We just went through that. You see, they gaslighting you. But the best thing for us to do, especially collectively, if you want to change something over there, you have to sit down and stop going to their jobs, clocking in. You have to make it about living and not about money. Because you heard what they said. They were going over there to take that money from the Middle East. This is how stupid they are. You can't you can't eat no oil. You can't drink no oil. You can't drink that. Okay, but y'all have made that a necessity for energy. You got solar energy, you got all sorts of energy, but now you obsessed with somebody else's stuff instead of trying to produce your own energy. We had someone who had created a car to run off water, and I think that man ended up unalive. You have other innovative ways to create energy, but you don't want to do that. Energy, I mean, what's his name? Nikola Tesla showed you that energy was free, but y'all don't want that. And anybody else that creates something like that, you unalive them. Ancestors help me. If you knew how sickening that you look in the spirit realm, y'all are sick. Y'all, NATO, UN, the United States government, even the Democrats and the Republic, all y'all sick because all y'all took money from these people. They have bought y'all. Y'all have bought into the idea of capitalism. And this is what's fueling y'all. And you can't eat any of that money. It's not even necessary to live. That it's a false reality that you have created. It's synthetic. It's not real. But you're about to find out though. You're gonna find because you're about to find out. You're gonna have to come to do some innovative things and stop depending on that kind of stuff because it's made you spiritually sick. Now you just sit there and now a whole bunch of people got to be unalive for something like that they can't live off of. You see how crazy this is? And then the more spiritual you become, the more these people, you seem like an alien because you're going to got nothing in common with some of these humans, the stuff that they do. I don't even like to talk to them because you ain't talking about nothing. You're talking about stuff. Hey, you better make this about living if you're going to survive this. It can't be about capitalism. It can't be about clocking in on their jobs. You have to change. You're going to have to become a hijacker and a conquer. Okay? You have to flip the script on these people. That is the only way because you got somebody, this a war on your conscience and your mind. And so in order to change this of collectively to do our shadow work, we have got to again, that stuff don't work no more. They saying that stuff don't work. You can't go to nobody's house and take over their stuff and then tell them who you want to be the leader of their country. Ain't that the most crazy shit? That's just like coming to my house, taking over my house, and telling me you're gonna put another person in to run me in my house. But I pay all the rent here. I pay all the rent here, but you're gonna put some. I can't take no more of it. Okay, I just can't. The stupidity is overwhelming. The mental sickness overwhelming, and then you keep pushing this, the false narratives, all this stuff, and people are so brainwashed with this. I'm tired. I don't know about you guys, but I refuse to sit there and put up with that. And if I do got to sit there and do sit there in that, I would rather be doing something about it so I don't be phased by it. Okay, that's they're playing with your mind. They playing with us. Okay, and these people do not want to do their shadow work, even though Iran is holding up a beautiful mirror to them. Iran holding up that mirror. They dodging that mirror, baby. They dodging that mirror. Okay, they have been eloquent in their speak, very elegant in their response. And yet these people have waged a propaganda media to brainwash everybody into thinking that Iran is doing something wrong. And then a lot of people going with this. This let us know it's scary, people. It's scary. This is why the ancestors be sitting you down. This is why you don't want to be around people, because you don't see how sick people in the mind is until you start seeing this kind of stuff. From a spiritual or psychological perspective, many people interpret global conflicts through the lens of collective consciousness. When viewed through the framework of shadow work, the same concept used in spiritual traditions to describe confronting hidden wounds and unresolved trauma, wars can sometimes be understood as manifestations of unresolved collective histories. That's what's going on there. That's why Iran said, look, you did this before. You keep coming in here doing this. We're going to resolve this right now, because we're not going to keep having this same thing happen. We're going to nip this in the bud so we don't have any more problems out of you anymore. We want to get to the bottom of this. But now you don't want to get to the bottom of this. You don't want to, even went to the point and say these people hurt their own people when you the one dropped the boom in there. And you said these people dropped the boom. Girl, and this is why, for me, I have to get away from there, because I ain't gonna tell you no lie. I can't resist the temptation to put my hands on you. I cannot. Every time I look upside one of y'all head, you know, and y'all know all y'all, and I ain't like that. So I have to wonder about how your mind is. But you makes it very hard not for somebody not wanting to put their hands on you. You make it hard. You make it very, very hard because you like to gaslight and you like to play with people's minds. And what you're doing is, when something do like that do happen, people are gonna have a lack of sympathy for you. Like people have a lack of sympathy with going on with the Israeli people. They don't have no sympathy for them. And you're gonna need that sympathy. But because you don't want to look at yourself and you don't want to address yourself, people are gonna they are gonna dance at your demise. This what's gonna happen to you. You refuse to look at yourself. Colonizers. And then appointed yourself over God's people. If y'all ain't sick, I don't know what's wrong with you. You make it hard for somebody not want to do something with you. I can't resist it. I don't know if that be ancestors or what. But honey, it be feeling like a Haiti is rising up on side of me when I'm standing next to you. You deserve you. That's what needs to happen over there. So you're gonna see this happen over and over again. And what they're doing over there, Iranian, they see it because it happened to them in '79. Okay, they've been trying to, again, because what Iran would not conform. They're authentic. They're not interested in going along with the program. They like the way things are running. It's not broke over there. They like being authentic. They love their country. They're not one to conform. But this is what happened when you don't conform. I've seen it. I've been the target of it. Everybody thought I was crazy when I would not let these people, abuse me and do all this other stuff. People at my job told me they were scared I was gonna lose my job. I guess we're gonna use it, and we went to war. I went to war with some paper and pen, and I was getting them folks up out of there. And people was looking at me like, "Oh my God, no, don't stand behind me now, because you was letting these bullies do you like that." And you're the reason why it's out of control, because you never opened up your mouth and said nothing. And now Iran, is toting all this stuff by themselves because nobody checked these people. They're not used to being checked. So now Iran got to check them. They think they the only one can check people. So yeah, I stand with them 1,000% because I've seen it. I have been the only one, and God knows I'm a Sagittarius. I'm gonna open my mouth. I don't care. People get mad. I don't give a damn. You can fight the air. I don't care. We can go to war about it. I don't care. I'm gonna say what I got to say. You can be mad all you want to, but I'm gonna tell the truth. I'm gonna tell it like it is. And I've done this. I've done this. It always happened to me. I see something going on, and I speak up. Everybody is, wait, no, you get in trouble. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn about getting in trouble. This shit wrong. We need to say something. We need to say something. Then I say something. Now everybody behind me and support me. No, don't get behind me because you let it get this far because you didn't say anything. Some of us will go along with that. As you see it so many times, you see it on jobs. They know stuff be wrong and they'll go along with it. And nobody says anything because they normalize abuse. They normalize it. Same thing they're trying to normalize with the e-files. They ain't worried about that, trying to normalize that. Okay? And if you say something about it, you're the problem. And this kind of stuff that even made it up in our families. We see regular people in our family, and then we say something, our family get mad at us. This is the kind of stuff that be going on. And people like us, we ain't got that many friends because people love delusionals. They love to be comfortable. They love little lies that make them comfortable. They don't want to have to look at themselves. No, 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 no. How dare you make them look at themselves? You're the problem. I don't know nobody like me and my family. We cut that off a long time ago because I'm not going along with this sick stuff y'all got going on. I will call you out. I don't care. We are strange. I'm going to wake you up here. So if y'all don't want to be awake around me, don't come around Penny, because I'm going to say some stuff that's going to wake you up. And I don't know how it's going to come out. I'm trying to be better with my mouth, but sometimes it can be fly. I'm going to say it if I see it. This needs to happen. It needs to be regularly, the truth need to be normal instead of lies. People in this word, that's why the more spiritual you get, you ain't crazy. The less you going to like folks. You ain't crazy. Ain't nothing wrong with you. You ain't gonna be one to talk to a lot of people. You're not gonna be one to entertain a lot of people. You're not gonna like them. Ain't nothing wrong with you. You just see right through them. You see their motives sometimes. Ain't nothing wrong with you. And your family, they not gonna like you because what you used to ignore, you're gonna be pointing it out. You're not gonna allow them to put that stuff on you. You're welcome, Oracle Deborah 67. Okay? You have to be truthful with them. And even though we're looking at this collectively, we have told before this even happened with Iran, how many times have we told the United States government they was raggedy? How many times? Oh my God. For all we know, God done come down they self and told them you is raggedy. Ain't no way in the hell you don't know that. And now you got people that don't even live with you showing you raggedy. Them folks don't even see you. Don't know you raggedy. Okay? Instead of trying to fix yourself and do some type of therapy and wonder why you want to conform everybody to your outdated, ideologies, instead of trying to figure that out, you want to force your regular self on somebody. Boy, ancestors, help me. Help me, help me, help me, help me, help me. And anybody that try to, tell you about yourself, y'all try to eliminate that. You try to eliminate that. You don't want to know that. Okay? One of the most powerful examples of the dynamic occurred during the civil rights movement in the United States during the 1950s and 60s. The movement emerged as a direct response to systemic racism, segregation, and denial of basic human rights of our ancestors. For many generations, these injustices have been normalized through law, culture, social institutions. I mean, they had a white bathroom and a black bathroom, a white water fountain and a black water fountain. This is the stuff these people done now. These the same raggedy people. I urge you, if you ain't thought about segregation, you need to think about it. Get away from these people, because that means they gonna still do the same thing. We need to have our own nation within that nation, because these people is raggedy. They're gonna keep this stuff going on. Okay? I know y'all don't want to hear that. You want to think where has integration gotten you with that? Seems like they dropping us off by flyer. They going up in people's house, unaliving them. Police got permission to unalive us. This is what's going on here. Our work was still supposed to be going on. It was still supposed to be continue to go on. We supposed to be separated from these people. That's the ancestors' work that we got. And that's when y'all be trying to come over here in the hoodoo. Nah, girl, boy, pale face people, you better look at your ancestors and see what they doing. Stop trying to jump over here where we at. I just seen the video. Now I'm gonna address the Orisha people. I just saw a video in Argentina where these people have unalived all the dark people that's over Ifa, and now you got these Argentina pale-faced people that have taken over the religion, and not a dark person inside. This is why I tell you, you Ifa and voodoo people, boy. See, this is why hoodoo is closed, and we don't play that over here, okay? You need to do something with that. And them people over there, they done unalived all the people that the religion come from and hijacked it for themselves. Where have we seen that before? We've seen that before, right? See, this is what's gonna happen if you keep initiating them into your stuff. And before you know it, uh 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 your moja, y'all gonna be white, or you're gonna be white. There ain't gonna be no sign of them ever having black ancestors. That's what's gonna happen there. That's what's gonna happen. You're so gullible. And look. That's what's gonna happen. Now you go look that up for yourself. Got the whole these people just pale faced it, and full swing. They got that Ifa. I don't know if it's Santeria or Ifa. They got it in full swing over there. Yeah, it was integrating was the worst thing to us because our people that got lazy. They didn't got complacent. They love following celebrities. They don't hold these celebrities accountable for the culture. It's too many of them because when there were celebrities in our culture, our ancestors holding them accountable. You had Nina Simone, you had Sam Cooke, and other uh, influential people that may have been rich or whatever. They were being accountable. They were giving back to the culture. Now these celebrities, they in bed with the pale face people. They done took oats and stuff in Bolay. Can't even trust some of the leaders over there because most of them is Bolay. I seen Jesse Jackson family get mad because they felt like a lot of us was not giving Jesse Jackson the recognition he deserved. He gets his flowers, but he also got to be accountable for throwing us up under the bus. This man sat here and made us, you know, gave us this term African American, why he claimed his indigenous roots. So we can't forget about that. The hell you mean? Okay? And then he kept on with the okay, don't him and Al Sharpton gaslighting us and going to the polls. The polls ain't gonna help you. You can vote all you want to. Y'all can vote. They want that from you. They want that. That's part of the gaslighting. That's part of the brainwashing. Is running down there voting when they know all of them raggedy. They don't want you to get the idea and govern yourself. Just like they told Iran. We want to pick and choose your leader for you. Are you kidding me? You don't even live in that country. But this is what they do. Okay? They're picking and choosing the leaders for us to keep us brainwashed. Most of the leaders that you're seeing over there now are over there to keep you brainwashed, to keep you comfortable. Oh, yeah, they talk a lot of talk, but no one is going to put in action. Because if they were to put in action, believe me, they will be unalive. Anyone that puts in real action, okay, anybody that put belt to ass over there with them, they get rid of them. Why do you think they got rid of Malcolm X? They don't stay long. Believe me, the real people that do the work, they try to get rid of them. The people that's going along with the program, they keep them alive forever. And I just dropped gems on you right there where I'm at. Right there. So any of these black leaders that's still alive, they supposed to be uh leaders in our community. You better start asking questions. Why are they still alive? What's different about them? They definitely got rid of Malcolm X. They definitely got rid of Martin Luther King because Martin Luther King started saying, "Hey, this boule thing ain't good for us. I need to start telling the truth." And when he started telling the truth, he was unalive. I had to tell my daughter the other day. She thought that when he was at the hotel, that's how he passed away. I said no, he passed away because the doctor unalived him in the hospital. He would have lived. She said, "What?" I said he would have lived. They unalived him at the hospital. The doctor unalived him. She said they never told us that in school. No, they didn't tell you that. Because if they would tell you that, they would tell our children that y'all wouldn't want to look at them and won't be sitting in no classroom with them because they raggedy. They want you to think that there's a crazy person from the building that did it. No, it was the person that's supposed to be the most logical, sane person in there who did it. Okay, that didn't happen. He probably would have lived had it not been for the doctor. Okay, but they keep telling us, it was this one man. No, it was the people at the hospital. Okay, so we see that. We see that we went through that with them. We tried to. Our ancestors were trying to get that right. They were trying to reset things. They were trying to get civil rights. They were trying to again get back what was taken from them. And that work shouldn't have never stopped. It should not ever stop. And that's the work that we still collectively have to sit here and do. You can't sit here and say they're doing this to us, to us, to us, when your ancestors have given you the blueprint to take care of yourself. There's no sense in be talking, they're doing this to us. You've gotten the blueprint, okay? By staying integrated with them, going along with them, that is what's again they're taking advantage of you because they know once we become together. Because every time we come together, because we have a lot of capital power, a dollar power. When we got together and was segregated, that scared the hell out of them. They didn't want that. So that's the very damn thing you need to be doing. And that is the things that these celebrities need to be talking about. But they didn't got indoctrinated with these people lower spiritual behaviors. They have compromised themselves and really disgraced the ancestors with some of their behavior. That's what we're fighting over there now. Many of our people have been indoctrinated by their spiritual sickness. And they didn't already let you know who they would. They oppose anything that's holy. They letting you know that when they're rocking with Israel like that, and they're rocking with them, they're letting you know they oppose of light. They're opposite of light. They're just putting it out there in the open now. You just letting everybody know you raggedy, that you love darkness, and you claim for us to be in darkness with you. And any light here, you're going to try to destroy it. You unalive those people, religious leaders, okay? But here your religious leaders over here, the popes, they got their own E5 too, because you got them messing with children and stuff too. These people letting you know they down with the darkness. They love doing this pedophilia. They love doing SA. They love abuse. To them, that is their God. They're letting you know what it is. If you don't see that, I don't know what to tell you. They're doing it in the subtle way now. They've always had you serving the devil, Satan in their church. All you conservative Christians that support Israel, that's what you're doing. You've always served Satan, the devil, your so-called Satan, the devil, the other side. You've always did that. You're just more in the open with it now. That's what it is. So let's stop sugarcoating it. Because that's what y'all do when y'all go to church. It's like putting sugar on poop. Just because you put sugar on poop, it don't change it in the candy. It's still poop up under that sugar. That's what y'all been doing. Okay? That's what's going on now. If you don't see that in the spiritual sense, I see it with my spiritual eyes. So y'all letting everybody know that y'all serve darkness and that you want to keep all of us in darkness. And if any of us try to wake up, you gonna murk us. You gonna murk anyone who has any kind of light because you want everybody to stay in darkness. You want us to all go along with this. You gonna murk anyone that brings any light, any righteousness. That's not what you want. And anybody that try to do that, you gonna murk them. Look what it is now. I find it hard. I can find it, Am I saying all of them like that? Nah, but the ones that's like that, I find it very hard for me not to want to put my hands on you. It would be the righteous thing to do. But luckily, the great mother gave the people the right power to do something with you. And you're beside yourself because you've never been checked before. And what's so bad about it, you don't even consider them powerful, but they are. Because if God is standing with them, who can stand against them? If God is standing for them, who can stand against them? Now you actually see God is real because y'all sitting up there playing Iran is for real. They standing on God. You can't do that. You ain't got that in you. And you said God gave you the authority to conquer all these other lands. I don't think so. Now you standing on God, we better see it because Iran is standing on God. God ain't for you, ain't never been for you. You're a disgrace. You're a stink in God's nostrils. And when you seeing them, you're seeing the finger of God because y'all ain't never been spanked like that. You ain't never been spanked like that. But they are the ones to do it. And you need it. You need that. You need to be back. You need to come back to yourself because you won't do the work to heal. You won't change the way. And for us, people of color, we need to start getting away from them. Okay? That's why when they come over here and try to come over here and who do I have to have it tough? Our work is different. And now you seeing what your regular folks has done. Why would you want to come over here? You need to be fixing your people. Stop jumping over here. Golly. Go heal your people. Because you see them folks are sick. And they've been sick like that for a long time. So why you want to come over here? We got our own stuff to heal from. We got to heal from that regular stuff like that. We can't do it looking at you. Because as long as we looking at you, you won't look at yourself. You need some self-reflection. And the only way to do that is to get away from them. Because see, they don't want you to get away from them and have your own stuff. If you get away from them and have your own stuff, they will have to self-reflect. That hurt them like hell that Iran want their own stuff. You know why? Because Iran being on their own is a reflection of the work they need to do, and they can't have that. They can't have that mirror up there like that. That hurts them. Oh, that hurt me so bad. You making me look at myself. I can't look at myself. I gotta do something for you. You're evil for making me look at myself. You're evil for not going along with me. So just like they told us, something was wrong with us because we run away from the slave master. I think they told us we had a mental condition. This is how delusional these people is. Why would you think that they can make any decision and everything about them is regressive? I don't even, just by knowing that, you should want to sit down and be quiet. You shouldn't want to make decisions for anyone, and everything about you is regressive. So don't you think your logic is going to be regressive? And you're addicted to money. You're addicted to something that you can't eat, you can't drink, it's not natural, you don't need it to live. Y'all made this stuff up and you got other people sick with it, obsessed with it. You have abused that. And it's gonna have to be a change. It's gonna have to be a revolutionary change. That's the shadow collective shadow work that we've been pushed into. And the two, we get mad. And I have to get on my own people. You get mad when you see them unaliving people in the street. You get mad. Well, if you mad, remove yourself from them. Come from among them. So you ain't that mad. You instead of be fighting to integrate in their system, but be mad enough to separate yourself from their system. That's what needs to go on there. Stop fighting for their justice because they don't have that in them. You want to really see a difference, remove yourself from them. Get your own stuff. Stop trying to integrate into their stuff. Silently do that. You ain't got to talk about it. All you got to do is do it. Get the same idea. You don't have to see these people love a lot of talking and all that kind of stuff. Uh-uh. They want to know what you've been doing. Why do you think they spend so much money on spying on black people? Because they know once you get that idea to separate yourself from amongst them, they have no more power there. Once you sit down, this even with the American people, I don't understand it at all. Why y'all still clocking in going to work? I don't understand that at all. The people there, and I'm talking about the whole entire country, all the citizens. I'm addressing not just my community. I'm addressing the whole citizen. Why y'all still clocking in going to work? Why? I don't understand that for the life of me. I just don't understand that. You got the power, but you keep clocking in, going to work. You can shut that whole place down if you want to. Just don't go to work for a whole week. You can get Trump out of office right now. If y'all sit down and don't do nothing, don't go to work, don't do nothing, because see, they know y'all, they got y'all brainwashed and they know you'll never do that. They terrorize you with ICE because they know you'll never do that. This is why they doing that. I can't stay there. I don't like a whole bunch of wimps. I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? It pisses me off that you do it because I'm like, you could just stand up. I can't do it. And then the minute somebody else stand up and do it, y'all won't support them because you like comfortable. You like being in it. I got to think you like being in it because you won't do nothing about it. But Americans, y'all claim y'all go so we're Americans. You ain't nothing, even as a citizen. Because if you was about that life, you'd have been and shut that down. If you're not liking what you're seeing, you're tired of him lying. Because the news, they ain't doing nothing but keeping you distracted from the real solution is shutting that damn place down. I'm not finna play no whole bunch of money for no damn gas. I did that in 9/11. Not gonna do that shit no more. I'm not finna be paying all these millions and millions of dollars for food and all this shit. I'm not doing none of this shit. I'm gonna sit my ass down and I'm not gonna do shit. Y'all fix this shit. Cause the shit don't work without me. I'm gonna sit down here and watch you fix it. I'm not clocking into no job. I'm not doing any of that. I'm not paying no insurance. I'm not paying no taxes. I'm not paying any of that. I'm gonna sit my ass right here because y'all say y'all can fix it. I want you to fix it without me. I want you to fix all this shit without me because I'm telling you, I'm not doing nothing else until you fix it. You're gonna do like I asked you to do, like we hired y'all to do because you work for us. And I'm gonna sit here on my ass until you fix it. I'm not going to work. I'm not clock. I don't give a damn about this stuff. Look, and see, you don't want to mess with me because I'm gonna be a high John. I'm gonna flip the script on you. I'm going in there. I don't need no money. I'm going in there getting them groceries. I'm not messed up about no money. I'm talking about living. Now your mind is sick if you talking about money. I can't eat no damn money. I can't drink no damn money. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about going up here, give me some damn something to eat. The fuck you mean? Talking about some money. You sound like a damn fool. You're gonna have to start treating them like that because y'all so conditioned and you want to be in this stuff. It's make believe. I I can't even sit over there no more because people so brainwashed over there, so mentally sick. I can't tell you how many times I have to call over there. I've called over there to take care of some business, and I tell the people I'm in Thailand. Why did you leave? What the? Are you okay? No, are you okay? Are you okay? You over there with the regular people with sick people? I'm okay. No, you need to be asking. I'm okay. I'm the most sanest person I could be. You are the one who's brainwashed. It trips me out when you decide to leave there, and then some people get mad because you leave there. Why did you leave there? How dare you leave there? That's why you ain't got no money. That's why you ain't gonna have shit sitting there. That's why your mind is going to be polluted and diluted the whole time you sit there. Look at other people crazy because they don't want that for themselves. Okay, when really, if y'all just all sat down, if you're really sick and tired of it, stop doing the same thing. It's insane to keep getting up there voting and voting, and then we ready for midterm. We're gonna get them out of there. You're stupid. You're stupid. It's insane to keep doing the same thing and not you getting the same fucking results. It's insane. You're insane. You're sick. And they keep y'all going that hamster wheel and watch out. They're gonna have y'all again running down to them damn poles, getting the same regular shit. You actually believe the same people that do unjust stuff is going to give you a fair chance at something? I'm finna end this live stream because I can't even do it. I can't even do it. I mean, if the ignorance there, I can't even be there because the sickness is so. Especially if you really start healing and stuff like that, you're really peeling things down, and you're able to your perspective, you're able to see things because your eyes become open because the ancestors is working with you, the spirit is working with you. It, you're gonna keep on seeing that until you do something about it. You waiting on somebody to save you, but it's gonna be you to save you. And it's just as simple as sitting on your ass not doing nothing. Not participating and conforming to that. Because their stuff don't work without you participating. It only works if you participate. And y'all getting ready to go down there then. They told you your vote counted, then they gave you somebody raggedy. I mean, God dog. I just I can't. Oh Lord, I just and the more I see this, I say, God, ain't no way I'm supposed to be in this world. Ain't no way you put me here. This ain't. I don't even feel. I don't feel normal. I feel like an alien because do we have a whole bunch of what they call the people UPCs? Is that's what nobody thinking? Ain't nobody using their mind. Ain't nobody just. Everybody's going for the hijacking. Is it that easy to brainwash people? And maybe it's the point because they said too, it's hard to brainwash people that smoke cannabis or they cannabis connoisseurs. You can't brainwash me. I'm thinking about what you're doing. Okay? I don't know. Do y'all need to smoke some cannabis or something? Cause y'all ain't thinking. Y'all ain't thinking. Y'all probably need to light up and start thinking. Cause you ain't thinking. Okay, put the alcohol down, cause that don't help you think. Maybe you need to become a cannabis connoisseur, so your mind will start moving. You will start asking questions. I don't know, but it's just too many of you. It's just too many brainwash. I don't understand. It's scary. It's so scary. I feel like I'm living about a whole. That's why I had to get out there. I felt like I was living with a whole bunch of zombies. Y'all just do. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Yeah, I'm going to the polls. Yeah, yeah. You just get brainwashed. You just believe it. I'm messed up with Cardi B. I just wanna they can distract y'all with the celebrities, and these celebrities, it's the hijacking, you guys. And this collectively, it's our shadow work is gonna keep coming up. So every time I see something happen over there, especially us of color, and y'all get mad, you're not mad. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not mad. You're trying to integrate. You want to be like them. You're fighting for them to recognize and acknowledge that you matter. When really that's never gonna happen. It's never happened in 400 or 500 years. Okay? Ancestors keep telling you that. You need to get your ass over there and do your own thing. That's what y'all need to do. You can cry, go to United Nations. These are European people that have put themselves in charge of all the indigenous and the people in the world to oversee themselves, do the right thing, and never hold themselves accountable to do the right thing. This is what you're dealing with. And y'all keep doing the same thing over and over again. I don't understand that. Like, I'm doing my work, so I don't have to come back here because I ain't never seen anything so sick in my life. I've never seen anything so sick in my life, you know. And I grieve because I see you do the same thing. I grieve because I see you do the same thing. You do the same insanity. I grieve. And yeah, when you walk, when you spiritual, it is a two-edged sword. You get to see the goodness, but you also get to see the ugliness. And boy, uh, it's tiresome. Okay? Yes, UPCs, they're so disconnected. They came to see what right in front of them. Yeah, the UPCs, I don't know what's wrong. It's scary. It's alarming. I don't get it. You know, and so that's what you're seeing now. You're seeing this shadow work, the collective shadow work that needs to be done over there. You'll see the collective shadow work that needs to be done over there. That's uh that that's not being done. You're seeing that when we're seeing the repeated cycles of unaliving of Black Americans over there. Again, you're not that mad. Because if you were mad, you would do something different. Stop doing the same shit and thinking you're going to get different results. You're going to get the same results over and over again. Over and over again. They bank on that. Okay? And America has tried to do that stuff with Iran. And Iran has held up the mirror and said, you have to do something different. You're forced to deal with yourself. And they're not ready to look at themselves. It's time for change. And you talking about you going to change their regime. No, you need to change your regime. You have lived on warmongering and hurting innocent people from the beginning of your existence. That's all you have done. That has to change. Now Iran don't have to change. You have to change. Okay? We have to change. Stop thinking when something happened to us that these people, that this hurt, we can bring it to UN or whatever, it's going to change. No, it's not. We still ain't got the justice that we need for Emmett Till, Tamar Rice, Sandra Bland. I can just go on and on. We're not gonna get it. It's not about getting it, it's about getting your ass away from them, separating yourself among them, because that's where your power is, and that is where their downfall is. Because the more you keep on trying to get them to validate and acknowledge you, the more power you're getting from them. Yeah, NPCs. Okay. The more power you know they're letting you are letting them know. Oh, I need your power. I need your acceptance. I need you. No, because I guarantee you, if this much shit like this was going on now, and we still had Malcolm X or Martin Luther King, they would have been saying, our people just gonna go over here. We're not gonna integrate, because Martin Luther King had already said, I believe I integrate my people into a burning house, and I believe he was getting ready to segregate us again. Okay, and Malcolm X was getting ready to show us the hijacking that was going on in some of the religious structures in our community. Okay, they was getting ready to reveal the hijacking. They wouldn't have been fighting for equality. No. We already know you're not going to treat us equal, so we're going to get over here. We're going to put our money over here. We're going to be over here. We think it's better that we segregate because your people is still sick in the mind. Okay? We're just done with that. Okay? I don't get down with that. Until y'all do that, you're going to keep seeing that. I hate to put it to you like that. And anybody that's coming to you talking about, we're going to take it to the polls, we're going to take it to the midterms, they are gaslighting you. They are mentally sick. They are mentally ill. Go back and look at, where has any of that gotten you? Even the black people, they even got the black people in politics brainwashing you again, because my thing, it doesn't work. You better come up with your own stuff. I don't care what they're saying, it does not work. You cannot play somebody game and try to beat them with it. The game is rigged against you. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. I don't care how much you can fight the air. You can go in there and think that getting a black president, getting a black woman. No, you got to come up with something totally different from these people, because that was built on corruption. And they plan on keeping it corrupt. And if you're not going to be corrupt, they're not going to have you in there. You have to be compromised with them. Get that through your head. Okay? So that is what we're going through right now when we're talking about shadow work. You have a full understanding of what shadow work is and how we're seeing it now play out in our, there in America, and how it will always come around. And until America is going to again, not America, the government, because America is a beautiful place. It's a beautiful land. It is the government officials there that are raggedy and rotten. And this is going to keep on coming around for you. It's going to keep on coming around for you until you do the work. And we're going to constantly be treated unjustly, living among them, until we get the idea to remove ourselves from them and stop participating in their raggedy system. I know y'all don't want to hear this unpopular truth. This is unpopular. Don't nobody want to tell you that. They want to, get you conditioned to go along with that shit. And what has it changed? Show me something. It has changed. I think the only thing we got a little civil rights, but hell, we ain't even really been at a benefit from that. They've used immigrants to come in and use those immigrants against Black America. So even that has worked against us. They use that. Okay, so that's why I can't even sit over there, so I can't, I can't, because there's too many sick people over there. You've been brainwashed. They're constantly brainwashing you. They're gaslighting you. They're even putting this propaganda up, this news and all this stuff. You keep going to work. You keep feeding the beast. Every time you pay taxes, every time you're buying something, you're feeding the monster over there. The only way to stop feeding the monster, if the citizens sit down and refuse to do anything. You ain't got to fight. You ain't got All you got to do is sit down. That's it. But you won't do it. You won't do it. If everybody's sitting down, you know, if everybody's sitting down, how they gonna repo cars and repo houses and all that? That'd be just fine, because if ain't nobody staying in the house, ain't nobody making no damn money. So you damn if you do, if you damn if you don't. And looking at their infrastructure over there, and they're way behind considered to these other countries. Where we're living in is a third world country compared to the infrastructure I see in some of these other nations. America, the United States is behind. They have been gypping us out of our tax dollars, out of our cost of living, our quality of living. They have been taking it from you. Yes. So you might as well sit down. And these jobs, they ain't doing nothing, but you ain't not doing nothing but being a slave for them. And then you go to these jobs, they don't do nothing but mentally abuse you, emotionally abuse you. Most of these jobs, you can't even stay at the job for some time over a year because everybody up there bed shit crazy. Can't even stay at the job because they're gonna run you crazy. They're gonna have you doing crazy shit. And then they had a nerve, and when you speak up for it, then everybody mad at you because you won't let them abuse you. This is what it is over there. I'm so sick of them damn people. It's an abuse culture. It's built on dark psychology, and it's an abuse culture. That's what you got over there in the United States. It's an abuse culture. That's why you getting a lot of people that coming out here saying that what happened to them that was abused. You seeing what's happened with the e-files. It's an abuse culture. It's there to extract light energy. It is there to destroy you. I don't even know how to be more plain than that to you. It's rotten. Like Oracle never says rotten to the core. It's rotten. Okay. And I'd be damned if I spent any dime in there. Somebody was talking about what BlackRock own. The company BlackRock that's been participating in a lot of this, crazy stuff. BlackRock owned Chipotle, what Kentucky Fried Chicken. Just went on. I said, oh my God, you can't even shop in no store in that country without supporting darkness. You can't go nowhere holla nowhere. You can't go up in no store where you ain't supporting nothing raggedy. They made it to where anytime we spend our money, you supporting something raggedy. Oh hell, you just gotta throw the whole damn thing in the garbage can. That's what it's time to. Just throw it all in the garbage. It's just raggedy. It's just raggedy, raggedy, raggedy. I don't even want to be. I don't want to pay no tax because you're using my tax money to hurt me and to hurt other people. You making stuff to hurt folks with. Now I don't want to be giving you no money for that. I'd be down ready to sit on my ass and not do nothing because I don't want to do nothing to help you to hurt nobody. You got to get that radical. It's that serious with me. Hell no. I would throw all y'all in the whole damn garbage can. I would leave you there. I'm not finna do that to you. My ancestors, my ancestors them lived, survived, and me heal this much to keep on going with the hijacking with you. Hell no, I'm not doing that with you. Okay? Now, if you that serious about that, that's what it's gonna take. You might as well stop complaining about, they did it. Separate yourselves. If you're that mad, take your money, take your dollar, create something else. Don't be talking about it, just do it. But ain't nobody ready to do that. They ain't ready to do that. I can't, okay? And that is my topic on shadow work. That is what you're seeing there collectively. You're seeing in our communities that's coming back around for everyone to do their work. And I do recommend collectively, since these things are unfolding, I recommend that you sit with it, sit what's going on, talk to your ancestors. Right now is the time for us to be talking to our ancestors and asking for insight and asking for guidance collectively about how the choices that we can choose better for ourselves, not the ones that they're giving to you, because the choices that they're giving to you is nothing but conformity. And if you want to do something else, you're gonna have to be a high John and flip the script and come up with something else. We just got through covering that in our community. So if you're in our community, we just went over the adventures of High John, and I broke that all the way down, the archetype of High John, and how this is really, we had to learn how to really do things on our terms. Okay, so I invite you to, sit with that for a minute. And if you are doing a hoodoo, if you're thinking about hoodoo and you haven't considered shadow work, please consider that before you pick up the practice. If you're looking for a community, we have a great community there that you can go at your own pace. Everybody moves at their own pace. I try not to rush anyone. You can go at your own pace. We have a community over there at Spiritual Roots where we cover uh, every aspect of hoodoo and help you in your practice. We also have workshops as well. We're getting ready to do a tarot workshop that's coming up, I think Friday. Okay. So we're going to be doing that Friday. I think that's tomorrow. We will be doing a workshop, a tarot workshop. We also have a hoodoo master class where we get involved with lots of ritual interaction, mentorship goes on in our hoodoo master class. If you want to have more interaction with mentorship and rituals and things like that, check out our hoodoo master class. If you're trying to heal, do some shadow work, uh, check out our Know Thyself membership. Okay, if you just if you've mastered that and you've mastered that and all that, and you just want to pick up a couple more rituals or learn rituals or things like that, we have our ritual and our conjure. Okay, and for all those that just want to support, we have our lower membership too, where you just receive resources and articles and you get a chance to support our community. You can able to join our community. You should see it in our. If you're following us on TikTok, it should be in our bio. If you're following us on YouTube, it should be in our bio in YouTube as well. And it's our Patreon community. So you should find it in our bio. If you go to our bio, it should take you directly to our community. Okay. And we're always doing workshops, always interacting. And if you're in our community too, I guess I realize a lot of you guys, because we have a lot of workshops, and a lot of you guys, we have a pretty nice sized community. I understand that you're working and then you're trying to keep up with things, and it may seem overwhelming, but I want to come here and tell you take your time with it. Um, Engage if you have any questions. If there's something that jumps out of you, you want to engage or you want me to talk about something more, please engage. Let me know. I don't mind talking about those topics. I don't know how to um, m- assist you or give you the help you need if you're not engaging and you're not talking. Okay, but you're not behind. Nobody's rushing you or anything like that. Okay. I don't want you to feel like you have to rush through the information that we have over there because we have so much information over there. And I don't want you to feel like you're behind. You're right on time. But if you're struggling with something to understand something, I don't want you to feel like you're so behind where you don't feel comfortable with asking questions or engaging. I want you to engage. And in fact, uh, I'm going to try to remember that when I'm posting things to encourage you to engage, okay? So you're not behind if you're taking your time. And I know work and all that stuff can, with all that's going over there now, I can't even imagine what you're going through. But if you can just take that one step of day, you will see some progress. You don't have to have it all figured out. It's not a race. But if you are needing help and you're moving at your own pace, please don't let that prevent you from engaging because I do want to support you. Okay. And if I can support you and get you involved, because the more you engage and the more you again put self-care, because the rituals are more about self-care. You have time, beloved. And I want to again for the self-care and putting yourself first, start making the time because you're never going to have the time if you don't make the time. Okay? And I want you to feel free to engage over there. All right? Uh If you're looking for a reading, you can also DM me. Let me put my email address. It should be in my what's the name though. I thought my email address was in my bio on YouTube. That's my email address right there for you guys. I just put it in the chat. If you're trying to book a reading. And of course, we have several readings. We have the Astro reading, the Angel Tarot reading, the Ancestors reading, and the Akashic reading. Okay. So I hope this live stream really helped you guys, and we'll be coming back soon. We're going over rituals again so if you're new in our community and you want to go over rituals again, we'll be going over rituals again next week. So be standing by. Okay. We're going to go a little deeper in the ritual and why we do rituals. It might help you in your practice. Okay. All right.